I'm calling the June 18th, 2024 board meeting, or meeting of the Board of Education to order per Government Code Section 54950 Exequatur and Education Code Section 35140 Exequatur at 5 o'clock p.m. We will now be adjourning to closed session for the purpose of discussing the following matters: public employee discipline, dismissal, suspension, release, leave, assignment, non-reelection, non-reappointment, resignation, reinstatement pursuant to Government Code 54957. Personnel matters, public employee appointments, employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. Conference with labor negotiators, Dr. Alex Chernus, Superintendent; Gary Stein, Assistant Superintendent; Administrative Services, Dr. Isaac Gates, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. CSCA, APLE, Plum, and we have a claim, general liability number 638681. Is there anyone present who would like to address any of these items? Anyone? Seeing none, we will adjourn to closed session at 5:01 p.m. All right, welcome to the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District Board meeting. I'm going to reconvene to regular session at 6 p.m. And our report out of closed session was the board took action to approve resolution number 23-31 to issue a notice to release and reassign certificated employee from their administrative position pursuant to Education Code Section 44951, effective at the end of the 23 to 24 school year, and direct the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. Motion was made by Mr. Youngblood, the second was by Mr. Frazier, and the vote carried 3-2. And now, Todd Frazier, will you please lead us in the pledge?
Would you please stand? Ready? Begin.
All right, and so tonight for our inspirational message, it is my great honor to introduce Yorba High School's track coach, Mr. Sterling Jones. If you would mind coming to the podium, please. Right up here is perfect. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. First, I want to thank you for having me here, for having me speak. As you know, I am getting ready for the 2024 Paris Olympics. And so I definitely want to come out, not only give an inspirational speech, but more of just more so solidify the USI, how it can benefit, how it can help the athletes. As you know, good evening. My name is Sterling Jones. As you said, I am the head coach for track and field at Yorba High School. Today, I'm here to talk about how the sports institution, Universal Sports Institution, how it will help the athletes succeed, like myself. To begin, I am a current athlete. The USI can benefit students athletically because it provides them with personalized training. At USI, students will have the opportunity to have more structured, personalized training by experts in the sport that your student athlete practices. For example, if you have student athlete practices soccer, there will be experts in that field that will provide your athlete with specified training that will help him or her to develop the particular skills. Some of these practices will include strength training, strength and conditioning training, recovery treatments, yoga, and speed and agility. These are all the practices that are essential in all the sports. As a current athlete, I have continued practice in all of the above for the continuous growth in my sport. As you know, I train 4 hours a day. And as I'm training 4 hours a day, I get up, I start my workout at 5 in the morning. And I really want to encourage, and like I encourage the kids, the athletes that I coach, that this is something that is about stride and strength and persevere. And furthermore, I feel like the USI can benefit students because it provides them with additional time and the resources that coaches like myself do not have. That is, I know as a coach I have a limited time to work on a variety of skills. This takes up a lot of time, especially when the athlete is missing foundational skills of the sport. With the time spent at USI, students can learn these skills there, and grow even further in their home sport. They will be much more developed when they get to work with their home school coach, and as a result, that coach can push them either further. Example, when I say a very limit on time, we only get an hour out of the day, and I think if we're looking hour to 2 hours, if we're looking to push individuals to the next level, like the way I am, I really think USI can benefit from that. And in conclusion, as a current athlete and a coach, I see many benefits that students can get from attending the University of Sports Institution. And so why I'm here today is to solidify that the sports institution will help individuals as athletes that come to me. I really feel like the foundation could be grown a lot better. And I think with the extra time that they can get from the Universal Sports Institution can get them further along in life.
Sterling, I'm not going to let you go yet. You have an unbelievable inspirational story. And that's one of the reasons we wanted you to come. Can you just share your story with us as you prepare for the Olympics?
Yeah, I am from Florida, small town, maybe 2,000 people, 3 stoplights, 1 high school, 1 elementary, 1 middle school. Everybody knows everybody. I moved out here. I attended junior college for 2 years. I went back home. I came back, and I was getting heavily recruited for football by Pete Carroll, USC. And unfortunately, I got in a really bad car accident that set me back. And then I went striving some more, and I got into another car accident. And my doctor told me that the only way you're going to stay active if you start running. So I never took track serious because in Florida it was almost, say, 100 degrees in Florida. And so I really got out of football just to run track. And we did football constantly year-round. And so I started running, went to a track, I started running, and I was like, you know what, I want to take it serious. I want to see where it's going to lead me out in life. And from that point on, from 2013 to 14, I would say I broke 25 records. I went to Olympic trials, went to the USA Outdoors. I met numerous of people and led me to where I'm at today. And so why I'm here today, I want to inspire the next not me, but inspire the next individual to keep moving forward in life. And that's why I want to reaffirm that, like I say, the USI will help that individual like myself get to that point.
Well, thank you for representing our school district.
So now we have somebody to watch with the Paris Olympics
I was
this
just gonna
coming
say-
summertime.
I was just going to say good luck, and we'll be watching.
Okay, so let the record show that all board members, including our graduated board member, is present. Can I have a... Can I have approval of the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the June 18th, 2024 Board of Education agenda as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Youngblood, a second by Mrs. Anderson. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'm an aye. Vote motion carries 5-0. With an aye from our graduated board member. Public comment cards are available in the foyer. Cards must be completed and turned in prior to the designated time for public comment. You'll be provided a maximum of 3 minutes per person. If translation is needed, an additional 3 minutes will be given. Please let us know ahead of time if translation is needed, let us know ahead of time so we can ensure we are prepared. We do have a civility policy per Education Code 220, prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability, gender, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race or ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic that is contained in the definition of hate crimes set forth in section 422.55 of the Penal Code, including immigration status. And now can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of June 4th, 2024 as amended.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Anderson, a second by Mrs. Buck. Is there any comments? And Sean, you are free to vote on this as long as you reviewed them.
Yes.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 5-0 with a aye from our graduated board member. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of May 14th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting of May 14th, 2024 as presented.
I'll
Second.
second.
I'll go to second to Mr. Frazier. I have a motion by Mr. Youngblood, a second by Mr. Frazier. Any comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 And I am an aye. And we also have a yay from our, oh, you didn't get to vote, sorry. You were not at the meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 7th, 2024?
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 7th, 2024 as amended.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck. I have a second by Mr. Youngblood. Any comments? All right, you can vote this time. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries 5-0 with a vote for an aye from our graduated board member. All right, now we're going to open up a public hearing. This public hearing will be held relative to the annual budget and service plan of the Northeast Orange County SELPA for the 2024 to 2025 school year. I'm going to declare this public hearing open at 6:11 p.m. Anybody here that would like to speak on this? All right. I'm going to close this at 6:11 p.m. Okay. And now I'm going to give it over to Emily Sun for her final report.
Good evening, President Blades, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Chernus, and executive cabinet members. I'm excited to be here tonight for the final time to share recent happenings from our comprehensive high schools and alternative campuses. At Buena Vista Virtual Academy, they held its 4th annual graduation ceremony on Tuesday, June 11th at the PYL USD Performing Arts Center. In total, the school awarded 57 students their high school diplomas, including 17 seniors and 12 juniors as early graduates. At El Camino Real High School, on Tuesday, June 11th, El Camino held its 2024 commencement ceremony at Bradford Stadium, located at Valencia High School. The event marked the conclusion of the 2023 to 2024 school year, celebrating the achievements of 90 graduating students as they received their high school diplomas. At El Dorado High School, on behalf of the entire El Dorado Golden Hawk community, happy summer. EDHS hopes everyone listening to this month's student board report is looking forward to summer and enjoying time with friends and family. The Golden Hawks are thankful for such a supportive community that surrounds El Dorado. As the class of 2024 moved their tassels last week from right to left, the school was reminded of all the accomplishments, joy, success, loss, and sadness that can accompany a school year. Through it all, Elda will always keep in mind that spirit never sleeps. At Esperanza High School, Thursday, June 14th, was their 2024 commencement ceremony at Nathan Chappelle Memorial Stadium, where 311 seniors were awarded their high school diplomas. Among these seniors, 88% have enrolled to continue their education at a 2- or 4-year college or university. The EHS class of 2024 included 35 distinguished scholars. At George Key and Venture Academy, May 31st was the rededication event of the school's garden. It was a heartwarming celebration of community spirit and collective effort, supported by the Del Norte Garden Club, Home Depot, UCI Master Gardeners, REI Construction, and so many more. The garden is an inclusive space where all students, including those in wheelchairs, can interact with nature. On June 5th, Venture Academy held its annual graduation ceremony in honor of the class of 2024. This significant event took place at the PYL USD Performing Arts Center in Placentia, marking a momentous occasion for 23 graduates. At Parkview School, Parkview wrapped up the school year with a yearbook signing and a family picnic event for all attendees enjoyed. The Parkview staff celebrated the retirement of Linda Calvert, instructional aide who dedicated 42 years of service to PYL-USD. At Valencia High School, Valencia competed in the American Chemical Society competition and earned second place in Orange County for both advanced and first-year chemistry. 14 student athletes participated in the athletic signing day and will continue their athletic careers at Cal State San Bernardino, Oswego University, Chapman University, Westmont College, and Cal Poly Pomona, among others. At Yorba Linda High School celebrated 15 years of running with the Stampede. To commemorate their anniversary, a time capsule and plaque will be placed in the school library. In the time capsule, students shared their favorite memories and advice for future Mustangs. Finally, YLHS ended the year with a week-long celebration for seniors, including the senior breakfast, cap and gown distribution, and senior Disney Day.
Thank you. Now that your time as the student board member has come to an end, what would you say has been your biggest takeaway from the experience? And would you like your follow-up question, or you want me to wait?
Give me the follow-up question.
Okay. And what advice would you offer the incoming student board member?
I think the biggest takeaway was just holding responsibility for the amount of work that I have and the amount of things that I have to do in order to properly represent my peers and what they want to see with their future. And I think that the advice that I would offer for the future board member is to make sure that you talk to your peers about the current situations that are going on within your community, to ensure that you are making the right decision for your peers, and make sure that they agree with what you're doing.
Very good. I'm going to turn over to Dr. Chernus because we do have a small token of our appreciation.
So, Emily, we're extremely proud of you. We'd like to take this moment to recognize you for your exemplary representation of the students of this district. You always offered very insightful feedback. You did your homework. We wish you success as you've graduated from Esperanza, and we want to show our appreciation to you. So we have a plaque for you we'd like to present to you, and we'd also like to just give her a round of applause for her amazing work.
Thank you.
Yeah, the treasurer's here. Where would you like her? In the middle? Right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Sean just had a great idea. We do have a whole row of chairs that it says reserved, but if you guys would like to come sit on this side, we could just reserve these 4 seats for our speakers. If you guys would like to sit down. If you'd like to, no pressure. Okay, now we are going to turn it over to Dr. Chernus for his superintendent's report.
All right. We're very excited. We have a lot of great employees to introduce tonight, and many are here with their families. So at this time, I'd like to first ask Dr. Bilma Bermudez to come on up. Yay, you can clap. So Dr. Bermudez joins us from Compton Unified School District. She is going to be the new principal at Topaz Elementary School. She has 21 years of educational experience with Compton USD, and she's been principal there the last 4 years. Her previous experience includes serving as an assistant principal at a dual immersion school an English language learner specialist, and an elementary school teacher. It also includes working at school sites that are Apple Distinguished, Project Lead the Way, and Avid certified. She has worked developing curriculum, facilitating professional development, and mentoring teachers and new principals. Bilma earned her educational leadership doctorate from Cal State Fullerton, her master's degree in curriculum and instruction from APU, and her bachelor's degree from Cal State Los Angeles. She and her husband Robert have 3 children. They graduated from Sunny Hills and Fullerton Joint Unified School District. Andrew's now serving in the U.S. Navy. Nicole is a registered nurse who graduated from Cal State Fullerton, and Kristen's a high school math teacher, currently working on her master's. So, Bilma, congratulations. Welcome to our district. If you'd like to say a few words, we'd love it.
Thank you so much. Well, good evening, President Blades, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Chernice, and Executive Cabinet. I am honored and blessed for the opportunity to join the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District as principal at Topaz Elementary. I look forward to collaborating with the Topaz team of students, staff, parents, and community to ensure we continue academic achievement and parental engagement. Today, my family joins me as I begin this new and exciting journey. My husband, Robert, and my daughters, Nicole and Kristen. Once again, I thank you for this wonderful opportunity to serve as principal, and I'm very thrilled and excited to be part of this team. Thank you so much.
So are we. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's great to hire new people. It's as equally exciting to promote from within. And so I'd like to ask Ms. Christy Cohen to come up, who is going to be our new principal of Maple Payne Elementary. So Christy, we are thrilled to have you lead Maple Payne. Christy's been in education for 30 years. She began early years in education as a teacher and then a principal of a local private school for 12 years. She's worked in PYLUSD for 18 years. For the past year, she served as the Fairmont Elementary School assistant principal. Before that, most of her career was at Golden, where she taught the GATE program, holding multiple leadership roles. She truly feels at home in PYLUSD. In addition to her teaching and administrative credentials, Christy has a master's degree in teacher leadership with a graduate certificate in gifted education. And when this position opened up, you were the first call I made, and without hesitation, you told me that you were ready for the task at hand. So we couldn't be happier for you, Christy, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So good evening, President Blades, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Chernice, and executive cabinet members. Tonight, I want to express my enthusiasm and gratitude for the board's approval of becoming the Maple Payne Elementary School principal. Maple Payne Elementary is an amazing school, and it is an honor to serve the students, the staff, and the community. I look forward to continuing the wonderful traditions and contributing to the many educational opportunities that are offered at Maple Payne. I also want to thank my family who is here tonight. who are also so excited for this opportunity. So thank you for entrusting me with this responsibility. I am eager to start our work together. And go Mustangs.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the new principal of Woodsboro Elementary, Miss Rachel Collins. So, Rachel joins Woodsboro Elementary as the principal after serving as AP at Bernardo for the last 2 years. Prior to her current position, she served as a teacher on special assignment for middle school for 11 years. She attended Morse, Kramer, and Valencia High School. In 2011, Rachel returned back to Kramer as a history social science teacher, where she also served as department chair and Gear Up teacher, and led the school's development of the MTSS multi-tiered system of supports. In 2021, Rachel took on the role of TOSA, where she supported 6 through 12 social science district-wide. And so Rachel and her husband, Matt, have 2 daughters, Colette and
Marin.
And Rachel, I couldn't be more happy for you. Part of your legacy will be the next principal, obviously, of Woodsboro, but it will also be the Orange County School of Computer Science that you've worked so hard to develop with Dr. Fisher. So a lot of the success that we've had in developing that school is very much due to your leadership and your hard work. So it's a pleasure to promote you and to keep you here, and I know you're going to do a great job at Woodsboro. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Blades, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Chernus, and Executive Cabinet, and to everyone for excusing a 3-year-old separation anxiety. It is with so much happiness and excitement that I accept the honor of serving as your new principal at Woodsboro Elementary. As Dr. Chernus stated, I have a great love for our schools as a proud graduate of this school district and a current parent. And so I am just so eager to support all of our students and get to know their families at Woodsboro and to work alongside the team and learn alongside them. And I think one of the most exciting thing about joining the Woodsboro team is that the great majority of students attend Bernardo-Yorba, our future Orange County School of Computer Science, or Kramer Middle School. And those are the 2 schools that I have spent my time here as a teacher and educator. And I want to close just with thanking my incredibly supportive family and friends as I join the Hive. So, thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the next principal of El Camino Real High School, Gina Aguilar. Gina served our district for 29 years as director, principal, assistant principal, counselor. She's done it all. She's really done it all. She shares her greatest love is working directly with kids. Her leadership experience at the secondary level is extensive, which will be invaluable for fostering a supportive and enriching educational environment for our high school kids. She attended Wagner, Brookhaven, Tuffery, and El Dorado High School. Gina and her husband have 3 children, Austin, Reese, and Wyatt, who attend Travis Ranch. And they're in all kinds of sports all the time. It's really important as a school district to have people like Gina that not just have the experience but the talent to be able to jump into new positions. Gina was a great principal for us at Esperanza. We've been fortunate enough to have her at the district office. When she found out this position was open, she came to me and said, Dr. Chernus, I want this job. I think that we can do a lot of great things for these kids. The kids at El Camino are extremely important to all of us. Many of them have had a lot of challenges along the way. And I couldn't be more excited for Gina to take on this role and to lead this school. So congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening, President Blades, Board of Trustees, Dr. Chernus, and Executive Cabinet. I'm excited to be here tonight as the new principal of El Camino Real High School. As an alumni and longtime employee, as Dr. Chernus shared, I'm passionate about providing opportunities for all students. El Camino is a school based on second chances, and I have always been drawn to work with students who demonstrate the resilience and perseverance necessary to overcome the barriers they face in their lives. I look forward to working alongside the outstanding staff at the school to create an inclusive environment where students can thrive academically, socially, and emotionally, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Last but not least, I'd like to introduce our new Director of Student Services, Dr. Vanessa Landesfind. Dr. Landesfind has served as the Director of Student Services at the Centinela Valley Unified High School District for the last 5 years and is looking forward to the opportunity to continue to work with students at all grade levels in PYL. Prior to her district role, Vanessa served as principal at 2 comprehensive high schools and assistant principal at 3 high schools. She earned her doctorate in educational leadership from USC, her master's, I saw that. Her master's degree from California State, her bachelor's degree from Cal State Long Beach, and her master's from Long Beach. In addition to her K-12 work, she's been a lecturer at Cal State Long Beach's educational administration program since 2009 and is proud to continue supporting future school leaders in the program she attended. The declining enrollment statewide is really hard on districts, but it's our benefit. As Centinela shrinks, we can steal people like you. So we're really, really excited for you to bring your high school level experience with a student population that has a lot of similarities to many of our kids. And so welcome to our district. I know you will enjoy it as much as we all do.
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Blades, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Chernus, and Executive Cabinet. I'm very happy to be here and excited to join the team at Placentia-Yorba and to work with Renee and the rest of the Student Services team. As Dr. Chernus said, I've recently been the Director of Student Services in Centinela Valley. I'm very excited to come here and continue that work and work with the full grade span from pre-K to high school. I'm bringing with me the experiences that I've had in many districts and as a district administrator, and a strong commitment to the success of all students. My ultimate goal is to see that every student leaves high school with a plan for what's next and the skills to implement it. And I'm really looking forward to the next school year and starting to work here. Thank you so much again.
All right. He's going to continue on with his report, but if there's anybody with families who'd like to leave, feel free to do so now.
It's okay. Now is the time.
Yeah. He's walking. Oh. I was like, pay attention, Todd. Okay.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to review some of our successes and accomplishments this year as we wrap up a fabulous school year. And so I couldn't be more excited with so many things we've done. And so I think it's important that we acknowledge where we are and how far we've come as a school district as we talk about where we're going in the future. So the first thing we did is we've opened preschools. And so 2 new ones this year, both filled up almost right away. 3 more preschools opening next year, and we anticipate similar results. Now, let me just back up and say that the lifeblood of a school district is our enrollment. And we have been, as a school district, we've been dropping enrollment about 400 students every year. And so that is huge for the health of our district. And what does the health means? It means offering programs for kids, keeping schools open, keeping teachers and staff employed. All that is dependent on enrollment. And as we shrink enrollment, we have to let go of people, and we have to let go of programs, and it ultimately impacts kids. Most school districts in California are in decline. We are not. And so this year we turned around a trend. Over the last 5 years, we've been losing upwards of 400 students every year. This year, that trend has turned around. Currently, yes. We are over 400 more students this year to date than we were last year. That is a huge turnaround, especially as we talk about budget tonight. And one of the things in our budget, which Mr. Stein will get to, is this projected decline. And so what does this mean for me, for us? And it means millions and millions of more dollars for our kids. Upwards of $8 to $10 million a year if these trends continue. So this is huge, and this is something everybody should get behind and appreciate. We've done all kinds of ways to increase communication, not just through our social media platforms, our superintendent's roundtables. We had the first ever State of the District event this year. Save the date for our next one, because the last event, we just invited kind of city folks and management, but we're going to open this one up to the public. It is in September. Do we have a date? 17th? September 17th. PAC, State of the District event 2024. So please mark that on your calendar. Our executive team, we go to Rotary weekly. We go to we've done a lot for Reach Foundation, trying to raise money for our school foundation, looking at more innovative ways to raise money for our schools, engaging with our PTA partners. Our Monday messages have been a real success. 40,000 people are opening these messages with announcements. We're sending out previews of board meetings. We're doing all kinds of things. Superintendent advisory committees. We had hundreds of volunteers take part in high school parent, community, special education parent, middle school parent, elementary parent. So all sorts of ways to improve how we're communicating, which has been great. The other piece that I'm not sure that's on here is we moved our agendas to online agendas. So prior to last year, it was impossible to find anything online on former meetings. And if you go back, it's very hard. Now everything's very accessible and attached to the online agendas. So we worked really hard on that as well. SRO, so we have negotiated a contract with Anaheim Police Department to provide a school resource officer for Esperanza, which is a huge thing. We will now have full-time SROs at all of our comprehensive high schools, and that is something we haven't had in a long time. So that is something that we can all be very proud of, and it's I think my staff, I think the administration at Anaheim PD, is it Sergeant Conklin? Or Bob Conklin for his partnership. It's been a tremendous opportunity that we took advantage of, and now our schools are going to be safer because of it. Orange County School Computer Science, our people are here. We did it. We are going to be opening the school in the fall, and these kids that are going to go through this school are going to come out with skills for the next generation. And so I know I've spoken about this before, but computer science is the one industry that our country cannot employ enough graduates. And so we are addressing that, and we're going to be one of the leaders in the state and in the country in getting kids ready. So when they're done with high school, they're going to have high-paying jobs. Whether they want to go to college or not, well, that'll be up to them. But they're going to have high-paying, high-skilled jobs coming out of our schools. So couldn't be more excited for Dr. Fisher, her leadership. This would not happen without you. I've seen a glimpse of our innovation labs and what's going to be happening and the programming kids are going to be doing in there. I'm so excited. And the whole team, everybody from the computer science school, please stand. Another exciting program that our future Olympian alluded to was the Universal Sports Institute. We opened applications at the beginning of April. We have over 110 applicants already. About 80% of the kids are from our district. 20% are outside our district. We're offering a new innovative pathway for kids that want to continue through Parkview doing homeschool, but get high-level specialized athletic training. Committed kids. And just a matter of weeks after we opened, we saw Fullerton open a similar program. More and more districts were the talk of Southern California. When you go around, people are very interested in what we're doing. Athletic high school programs are nervous about what we're doing. Are we going to lose kids? These kids, grades 3 through 12, can participate in our high schools, participate athletically in our schools. We got a state grant to link this into a CTE pathway. Kids will be coming out with certifications in areas like nutrition, physical therapy. The state of California awarded us the Golden State Pathway Grant of $200,000. We have an opportunity to apply for another $500,000 now because we received the first grant. So the excitement is just, it's been unbelievable. Our partners are amazing. We have BC Adaptive Fitness to help our students with special needs throughout the district. We have a sports psychologist who's also a parent at Esperanza with Access Human Potential, who goes around and works with teams throughout Southern California. We have the training lab, which works with some of the top athletes that they're based in Placentia, and we have Recode Fitness, which is based in Brea, which really focuses on athletic training for kids in different ways other than free weights, and so that's really good for younger kids as well. So between our community partners and just the vision of the people willing to take a step out of their comfort zone and develop programs that will attract families and keep families here. Couldn't be more excited for this program. And going back to why are we up 400 more kids this year versus last year, here's a great example of why. And so USI is coming this fall. We created 2 special education programs this year, brand new. Students are getting diplomas that otherwise never would have. And so in the yes. We graduated 3 in December. We have another one I hear on the way. These kids are getting diplomas. All of our kids should have the goal of having a diploma. And so that has changed with our district now. And so our new program, called the Diploma Bound Program, PYLUSD Advance, is to make sure that our goal for all kids is to be diploma bound. And we have our Plus program. And so we are, if not the biggest employer in Placentia-Yorba Linda, one of them. I would assume we are probably the biggest. So why not employ our own students when they graduate? And so the goal of the venture program for many, many, many years is students that are 18 to 22 that are still being educated through us. And we have job coaches, and we have always been placing them in jobs throughout the community. What we haven't done is we haven't placed them in jobs here. And so we developed the Plus program. We have, to date, 3 students. One is an instructional aide. One is working in food service. One is maybe another location. I know print shop we're looking at. And so we want these now young men and women to work in our schools. It's not just good for them, it's good for all of our kids to be able to see students around them that may act different, look different, but are still students that they can relate to is amazing. So typical peers, all kids succeeding. This is an amazing program. I hope we hire more and more of these folks. After school intervention. And so this year, we helped over 4,000 students reach grade level proficiency. 5 4-week intervention cycles, 200 dedicated teachers, 8,670 hours of free instructional support for kids. You can all clap to that. Our math scores are up, and this is a reason why. There was someone who came and spoke at the last meeting, and he said, Dr. Chernis, I think he's here right now. There's Sam Majovich. Yeah, there he is. He said, Dr. Chernis, the new U.S. News World Report rankings since you have been here have gone down, and that's attributable to your leadership. Well, the U.S. News and World Report rankings are based on scores from 2 years ago. So I'm happy to take responsibility for the scores of our students while I'm here. I'm happy to, but I'm not going to be attributed to scores from 2 years ago. And I think it's disingenuous to come here and put false lies out there for the community to hear. And that was unacceptable, and so I do need to address that. Our math scores are up 3% this year. That means hundreds and hundreds of kids are achieving at higher levels. And that's something that we can compare versus prior years. Increase efforts. So I've heard everybody's leaving. Everybody's leaving. Well, that's not necessarily the case. We have over 300 teacher applications right now to come here and teach here. So putting that kind of information out there is also very unfortunate. We developed a fentanyl awareness program. I've seen some people say, well, you know, this is great. And some people try to take credit for that. But the reality is this started this year because I had a conversation with Leandra about what we can do to support our kids and educate them on this very, very dangerous and serious issue we have in our schools. And so this year, for the first time, we partnered with the Orange County Sheriff's Department and Placentia Police Department, and we had education assemblies for all of our high school kids about the dangers of fentanyl. And we also increased Narcan supplies at all our sites. So critically important, and you know, these are some of the things that you won't know you're really helping because you know, you're just hoping you don't have accidents, right? So it's hard to quantify the benefits, but we all know the benefits. And so we're going to continue that. Middle school sports. So this year we always had a middle school sports program. It was a track program. This year we expanded it to 5 sports, thousands of kids participating and competing against each other. This is something we're going to continue, and it is just amazing. The number of kids talking to parents about sports they thought they'd never even get involved in, and here they are now wanting to be a wrestler or wanting to run cross country. And it's because of this program that we put in place this year, free for kids after school. Also free for kids, outdoor science school. And so we offer this to any family that needed support. And we made sure every elementary school sent their kids to outdoor science school. And prior to this year, only about half were even sending kids to these programs. That's an equity issue. And so you want to talk about equity, that's equity issue. And so how do we address it? Well, we fix it, and we fix it right away. And that's what we did this year. Every school in our district now has an outdoor science school. There's some things that aren't on here that I want to speak to as well. One is our partnership with the Nixon Library. We have a new civics education course with the Nixon Library that we'll be writing next year. Our students, this will be an honor civics course. Our students, we're going to pilot it at Yorba Linda High School. Our students will be traveling to the Nixon Library once a week to get civics education. And the Nixon Library just approved the course framework. And so it'll be written this year. It'll be rolled out in fall of 25-26. And it's a very exciting program. We also passed a parental notification policy this year. If there are safety issues at school, parents need to know about it. And so that we put into policy this year, and I'm very proud of that. And finally, we got some books out of our libraries that were inappropriate. And we didn't do it by agendizing the book here. We did it through my authority for getting rid of books that are that have vulgarity and inappropriate content. And I'm happy to debate that with the governor or anybody else. But books like Milk and Honey are no longer in our libraries. That concludes my report.
Thank you. We appreciate everything that you have done in just this short 1 year. And so we're very proud of you. We're very proud of our entire team and are just thankful for all the programs that we're doing for students and that we're putting students first. And so this will take us into our public comment session. A public comment is an opportunity for the public to provide input to the Board of Education. During the public comment period, board members do not dialogue with speakers or make comments regarding the information shared. We have 20 people wishing to speak tonight. And so each speaker, Annette, will have one minute and 30 seconds. And so I'm going to have the first 4 speakers come up to the front row. When you guys are up there, just you wait till your name is called, and then when you get to the podium, please state your name before you start to speak. And so our first 4 speakers are Ed Gunn, Sue Sawyer, Judy Desjardins, and Karen Alexic.
Good evening. My name is Ed Gunn, and I am a 47-year resident of Yorba. I attended Maple Plain myself, Yorba Junior High, and also was bused to Troy High School in Fullerton at the time. I do want to say that teachers are good, and the union is bad. Very, very bad. Terrible union. Chernus, on the other hand, is so good that he should be governor. Absolutely. I did want to give people an update on Mary Lan Anderson. She was seeking the Republican Party endorsement last night. But with a track record like hers, sucking up to Karen Freeman and the union by making her president the first year that she was on the board, and then in the second year sucking up to Buck and the union to make her the president, where of course Carrie Buck felt like she was a dictator like Stalin or something that could unilaterally end meetings without a vote for adjournment. Maryland even had...
Can you pause the clock, please?
There should be some civility here when making
Excuse
statements
me.
like that.
How am I not civil?
Excuse me.
I'm stating facts.
Hold on. Per our attorney, he can speak about board members. He can speak about the union. He can speak about teachers. He can speak about all this.
Excuse me.
It's been okay in the past to call people insurrectionists. It's a Christian nationalist. It's been okay.
If you're calling out from the audience, you will be asked to leave.
Let's have the guy in the corner leave. Can we escort him out, please, officer? We'll wait.
That'll teach you to interrupt. She even had a terrible city councilwoman named Janice Lim come up and lie to the Republican Party Central Committee on her behalf. It was disgusting. One of Marilyn's supporters that was there with her was also involved in the recall efforts of the conservative board at Orange Unified School District. This is who Marilyn Anderson hangs out with. This is who she represents. Terrible leftist union hacks, as well as and totally against conservatives. With fellow Republicans like that, who needs enemies? I love what this board is doing, and ladies and gentlemen, please support conservative candidates in this next election cycle. We need them, not union-backed candidates. Thank you very much.
Sue Sawyer.
My name is Sue Sawyer. I'm a teacher at Esperanza High School. The end of the school year is a time for celebration, reflection, and rest. However, this board's majority and the superintendent's actions force attention, investigation, and action. There is speculation in the community about the loss of administrators throughout the district. The PYL education community has lost good people, institutional knowledge, and a sense of trust and confidence. Then tonight, action item 18.1, to approve Amendment 1 to Alex's employment contract. A superintendent evaluation before any contract change benefits our students, staff, and the entire community by promoting accountability and transparency. This process is key to building a trusting relationship between the superintendent, the board, and all stakeholders. It ensures that we are working together to meet the district's goals and values. Has an evaluation been done? How will this board guarantee transparency in decision-making? Will the board provide clear explanations and justifications for decisions affecting budgets, staffing, and educational programs? The community deserves the truth. I will leave you with this. Proverbs 11:1, 2010. An honest person will be truthful in all their business dealings. And John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
Thank you. Judy? Judy?
Good evening. I'm Judy Desjardins, and actually, Dr. Chernus, I made a copy of all your accomplishments, and I was going to read them, but you've already done it. But I do want to say that my granddaughter benefited tremendously from the after-school math program. And I'm just very thankful, and I want to give a praise to the Dr. Chernus, his staff, every teacher that helped get all these new programs. It's just really amazing, and you've done an amazing job. So I guess I don't have any, but I would like to address perhaps rumors. And parents and anyone here tonight, when you hear something that is negative, please go to Dr. Chernus, like he said before, and get the facts. No, it's not funny, and do not laugh. Thank you. I'm really pleased to hear about the new principals and the ones that were promoted. I already met the new one tonight because I'm very involved with my granddaughters and their education. So I want to just thank all of you for all of the hard work that you've done. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Karen Alexic.
Hi, my name is Karen Alexic. In the eloquent words of Taylor Swift, long live all the magic we made. The magic made for public schools in our state started when the California Teachers Association was founded in 1863. Let us reminisce on the magic that the teachers and the unions create every day in our schools, fostering an environment where students can flourish and thrive. Just like in Taylor's song, Long Live, teachers' unions are the united teachers who stand up for educators' rights, ensuring they have the resources and support they need to provide the best education possible for our children. As Taylor reminds us in Fearless, you're not scared to lose face if we want to make mistakes. Teachers' unions provide a safety net for both teachers and students, advocating fearlessly for policies that promote learning and growth. They create an environment where educators feel supported in taking risks and trying new approaches, ultimately benefiting the students they serve. In Mean, Taylor sings, "Someday I'll be big enough so you can't hit me." Teachers' unions are the voice that stands up against bullying and unfair treatment, both in and out of the classroom. They fight tirelessly to ensure that every student feels safe and valued, creating a nurturing environment where learning can truly flourish. In conclusion, let us celebrate the invaluable contributions of teachers' unions to our schools and communities. They are the guardians of education, the advocates for change, and the champions of student success. I encourage you to check out CTA.org for a more thorough history of CTA's advocacy. As Taylor Swift's music inspires us to shake off the challenges we face, let us also draw inspiration from the tireless efforts of teachers' unions to create a brighter future for all. Thank you.
Okay, our next four speakers, Ando Menino, if I'm saying that right, Sam Majovich, Steve Sofka, and Linda Mannion. And I'm not sure if Ando...
Ando was removed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
My name is Sam Majovich. I'm a retired PYL USD educator, and I am speaking in support of Assembly Bill 1955. We know that LGBTQIA identities and behaviors permeate the order of nature and are thereby part of human nature. We know that variants of some world religions reject the notion that LGBTQIA individuals are part of the natural order. We know that there are parents who, for religious or other reasons, are unwilling to accept or even love a child who identifies or behaves as transgender or non-binary. We know that many transgender and non-binary youth feel their homes are not gender-affirming and that forced outing policies operating under the guise of parental notification increase teen suicides. We know that counselors in the PYL-USD may have to make excruciatingly difficult decisions about when and how to break the bond of trust and confidence placed in them by students when deciding whether to bring parents into a conversation about gender identity and sexual orientation. We know that dishonest politicians promote the lie that there is a liberal conspiracy in the field of education encouraging young people to question their gender identity and sexual orientation. We know that this appeal to ignorance, fear, anger, and hatred can be an effective political tactic. Assembly Bill 1955 will make it more difficult for malicious school boards to play political games with the lives of non-conformative youth. It deserves the full support of people of conscience.
Steve?
Good evening. My name is Steve Sofka, and I'm a 46-year resident of this district. Dr. Chernis, to say that this has been an action-packed year would be a minor understatement, I would guess, huh? But your end-of-year dissertation was really important because in the activity of going on and doing all of these things, a lot of times we don't really get the impact of all that's been accomplished until it's all stopped and we look at it in its entirety. It's amazing what's been accomplished here this year. I'm not going to be redundant and go through all of it again, but I do want to point out the two crown jewels, OCSCS and USI. I'm amazed at these things, and I can't wait to see the results of them in action next year. To you members of the board, Mrs. Blades, Mr. Frazier, Mr. Youngblood, who have steadfastly supported the superintendent and these programs, incurring the slings and arrows, often from anonymous sources, kudos to you. Thank you for standing so steadfastly. To those of you members who chose to get in the way and do all you could to block these student-first accomplishments, shame on you. You now bear, pun intended, the burden of trying to explain yourself to a community that is obviously overwhelmingly in support of them. It is great to see this district vividly showing again what a top-notch quality education system could look like. I don't want to cut your summer short, but I can't wait till next year. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Linda Mannion?
Linda Mannion. Thank you for the budget update. As an Apple president, my most important role is to advocate for our students and our educators. As my Apple team meets regularly with the district, there are many obstacles to overcome. We advocate for more funding for classroom teachers. On the average, according to our survey, elementary teachers receive only about $10 per student to fund their entire class for the year. For a class of 30, this equals $300 to purchase all supplies needed. Every teacher spends hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars of their own money for their classroom enrichment activities to enhance their classroom instruction. We advocate for lower class sizes and additional support for special education. Special ed teachers are faced with ever-increasing class sizes with hundreds of additional hours of reports to prepare and share at IEP meetings on their own time. They take this on and continue to make it work because of their love for their students, but it greatly impacts their families. We advocate for reduction in excessive testing of students so that teachers can maximize their time for student instruction. Excessive testing reduces time for effective instruction and causes testing burnout in students. We advocate for programs and instructional materials for our teachers. Martin Luther King said, "Our lives begin to end when we remain silent about things that matter." These things matter, and we will not remain silent. Thank you.
Dave Peterson, Paula Powers, Misty Jansen, and D. Lawrence Radler. Dave, I believe you're first. It might be my mic. I feel like it's not on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's low. Can we turn it up?
We good? Okay. My first item is number 18.1 with the extension of the contract for our superintendent. The idea is it's a 4-year extension. My thought on the matter is that perhaps a motion could come from the board to modify that to a 2-year extension. We're going to be having an election and things could change. And that would give the opportunity for the new board to, see how that's a fit. And if it's not, then there's only like a short time period. If there is a change and the contract is for 4 years, then the superintendent will receive his pay for 4 years at $400,000 a year, which, would be approximately $1.2 million that would otherwise be in the operational budget. So something for consideration. I'm a financial conservative, and it seems like an appropriate way to work. Dr. Churns has been here for the year, go to a 1-year extension, a 2-year design, and then a 4-year after that. The second part is I figured out how to grow our district. We need to have babies. It's pretty simple. Placentia and Yorba Linda need more babies. And the city has a requirement of adding more housing units within it. And I think Placentia is already working on that too. I think a joint venture between the school district and the city to become a family-friendly area would help to bring the new people. Thank you.
Thank you. Paula Powers?
Sorry, I'm out on that one. I can't help having more babies. My husband and I wanted to express our sincere gratitude to the staff at Yorba Linda Middle School for taking great care of our son. Thank you, Mr. Kim, for taking the time to build relationships with the kids in your care. We're so sad to hear that you'll be leaving YLMS because we loved your energy and witnessed you putting kids first every day. You are respected by not only the Bobcats on campus, but by numerous teachers on staff and countless parents at home. We wish you the very best on your new endeavor and hope you keep in touch so we can meet your little bundle of joy that's coming this summer. My husband and I also want to extend a thank you to Mr. Lewis for being an amazing teacher and role model. Our son learned so much about history, and we hope our district will be able to find a place for you. We were heartbroken to hear that Mr. LaBelle and Mr. Fenton won't be coming back either. YLMS's music program is amazing because of their hard work and dedication. Their future students are lucky to have passionate teachers who will continue inspiring a love of music in the hearts of the kids they teach. Great teachers are 1 in a million, and PYL has the best. Our kids have been blessed with committed educators who have gone the extra mile to make sure they succeed. Thank you to each and every one of you that poured your hearts into our son and daughter. We are forever grateful.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Blades, Board Trustees, Dr. Chernus, and executive members. I'm Misty Jansen, and I'm here to express my deep concern regarding the mismanagement of personnel and the fiscal irresponsibility displayed by the board majority as of late. As a concerned member of this community, I find it unacceptable that such irresponsibility is allowed to persist without recourse. It undermines the integrity of our district, and it casts doubt on your ability to manage our schools. On behalf of the families in this district, we're asking you to be wise enough to seek counsel when you've made decisions outside of your scope and that are not in the best interest of our students and our district. Please pause to recalibrate and ensure that your mission is aligned with those you've promised to serve. Except maybe that's exactly what you're doing. I guess the question is, who have you promised to serve? I'll save the toilet papering and advice for another day, and instead conclude with this. We want you to choose parents over politics and to choose our kids over your future political careers.
Thank you.
Dave Radlauer. So the training lab is ineligible to do business in California because a vendor says it's an accounting error. And the president of this body accepts that explanation and considers this issue cleared up. In addition, the USI must be exempt from DSA approval because there is a mysterious email from an unnamed third party that says so. Is that the level of due diligence the majority of this board thinks is acceptable to the community that elected them? It was represented to the public in the May board meeting that the FTB issue would be resolved in no more than 2 weeks. It's been about 6. And the training lab status remains unchanged. Has it even occurred to the majority to ask for more details regarding why they are in eligible status, and apparently have been so since 2018? I'm sorry, but a vendor stating that it's a 6-year accounting error defies credulity. How about their IRS status? Is there any concern that cutting a full check to this group while the status is uncertain may cause our district funds to be levied by a state or federal agency? Multiple members of this community have raised compliance issues concerning the USI and the need for DSA approval, yet this mysterious email remains shielded from public scrutiny. The gaslighting has got to stop. The warning signs are there. This board needs to take a deep breath and do the sort of deep dive they were elected to do. Please stop ignoring community concerns. Stop blindly supporting projects fraught with fiscal peril. If this project is righteous and there's truly an accounting error, we might back it. But as it stands, shrouded in secrecy, this venture appears to be nothing more than a vanity project and a political boondoggle.
Thank you. Brian Kurzbard, Barb Barbosa, Andy Falco, and Kathy Satchel. Brian Kurzbard, Barb Barbosa, Andy Falco, and Kathy Satchel.
Who'd you call first?
Brian.
I'm reading these remarks from several employees of the district due to their fear of retaliation in this hostile work environment that's been created by the superintendent and the board majority. It's ironic that this community believes the mass departure of people in positions of leadership in our district is primarily due to alleged political ideology of the so-called majority board members. It would seem that if that were the case, we would expect the majority of those being demoted, released, or reassigned would be the most left-leaning, progressive administrators and district personnel. But somehow, that tends not to be the exception. That seems to be the exception rather than the rule. Granted, principals have certainly been targeted for their political ideology, and yes, district events have been targeted because they were somehow perceived as a threat to your political allies. Nevertheless, to truly see the pattern and motivation, you have to look beyond politics and ideology. What we have here is the elimination of people who challenge your unethical or illegal activities, those who refuse to simply look the other way and parrot your version of the truth. Leaders who dare to question your illegal or unethical practices are forced out, either with the threat of losing their job, being demoted, embarrassed, or by creating a hostile work environment until they seemingly leave on their own.
Barb?
Hi there, I'm Barb, and I'm a teacher in the district. First, I want to give a big shout out to Brad, BC Fitness. My son has gone to his program, good program. But I'm here for a more serious reason. I want to give a shout out to the seniors, the class of 2024. One tradition we elementary school teachers love is when the graduating seniors come back to their elementary schools. This year at Linda Vista, we had a huge turnout. Every single one of those seniors was polite, joyful, and so happy to be back at their schools, visit their teachers, and take pictures. Every single of those students had a plan for after high school that was just right for them. Each one of these amazing seniors is a testament to their own strength, the strength of their families, and the strength of our school district. Since 2011, our teachers and administrators have partnered with their parents to nurture these students. We have loved them from day one. As we celebrate these graduates, I'm going to ask that we don't be negative and fight about things, but let's be positive, let's work together, honor the past while we look for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Andy?
I'm always amazed that people get up here and you can put a whole list of amazing things that actually happened. The truth on the whiteboard for them to see, and they come up here and say what lies they are and how they were done dishonestly and how you're undermining the rule of law in the school district. Nothing could be further from the truth. I respect you, Dr. Alex Chernis, more than anything in this world. You brought more transparency to this district than I've ever witnessed in the 20 years that I've had kids here. But I love it when also they say that the union is an amazing place of loving people, but yet here I have social media posts from union members and advocates like Patricia Hansel that says a few school boards are attempting to weaken public schools with their nonsense policies, board votes, and actions. White comfort is something that is being used to justify book bans, teacher gag orders, and the blockage curriculum and school site programs. Or maybe this one, sadly, this just demonstrates how uneducated and illiterate the president of PYL-USD School Board, Leander Blades, is. Of course, these flyers, the flyers that they are handing out illegally to people's homes, not knocking on doors, putting QR codes, is going to expose the horrible impact of the current board majority, and in particular, Leander Blades and Superintendent Chernis. Or maybe this one, Ashley Abraham says, because our school board is corrupt as all get out. We have not seen that. Or maybe when your kid, talking about my children, are mediocre, have bad grades, and believe in Jesus, maybe that'll put...
Time's up.
One last one, I just want to make sure that you see, is that Polar Bear says, Andy Falco Jimenez would like to sleep with his daughter. That is the school union.
Andy,
These are their words. They're all on social media.
Thank
Be
you.
happy to hand
Kathy Satchel.
My name is Kathy Satchel. I'm a 49-year resident of Yorba Linda with 32 years of experience as a teacher, 8 of which are in the Placentia-Yorba Linda School District. Fear. Definition is an unpleasant emotion on belief that someone or something is dangerous and likely to cause pain or threat. That, when I started teaching here, a union member came and said, oh, you've got to join the union because these parents are going to sue you and you don't have enough money to protect yourself, so on and so forth. So I did join the union, and I'm very sorry I did. The teachers union is not friends of our children. Look at what they've done during the scamdemic. They've let the teachers out of the classroom, the children wearing masks that we find are not good for the children, and so on. Other things that I've experienced. When I was at Orchard Elementary School, there was a Miss S that was teaching 6th grade. The parents knew she was not doing well. So I had 42, and it might have been 46 people in my classroom that were transferred to my class because the parents knew she was not doing her job. This also has happened to someone else that I taught next door, who taught current events constantly with a snake in his room. And when they came to my classroom to do social studies, it took me 30 minutes to get them down from the ceiling so I could teach them.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Our next 4 speakers are Shani Murray, John Quackenbush, Maria Lapita Stubbs, and Lupe. Shani, you'll be first.
Hi, my name is Shani Murray. At the February board meeting, during public comment, I said, quote, I'm becoming increasingly concerned about the high turnover rate we're seeing in PYL, unquote. At the time, I was shocked to learn that yet another administrator, Shelley Spessard, had left, and rumors were circulating about my El Dorado principal, Joey Davis. Leandra brushed aside my concerns, saying people had been bamboozled by misinformation and fear-mongering on social media. Yet here we are in June, and it seems my fears were quite valid. 4 out of 5 high school principals are gone, including Mr. Davis. I believe more than 20 administrators have left in the last year or so. It's safe to conclude that I wasn't being bamboozled, at least not by social media. So I want to state here, for the record, that I don't appreciate being gaslit about the tremendous loss for our schools and our students. It is truly disheartening to see such a lack of appreciation for what these esteemed educators have given to the PYL community. Thank you.
Thank you. John Quackenbush.
Thank you, trustees and superintendent. A couple of things. I guess I'll start out with, since we've had a lot of stuff, Anderson, thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate listening. I appreciate board members that listen to their constituents and listen and take it to heart and then make the decision rather than it being a political ideology. Also, on the, I guess it's 18-1, I ask that you vote no right now. We're in a situation, gentleman said, we have voting coming up, we might have a new board. If we don't have a new board, there's next year, and you can always add 2 years then. Let's see some numbers, more numbers come in on what's happening. These things, a lot of these things, the communication to me has been what it's been before and then added on, just throw it down your throat kind of thing. Best way I can say it. So sometimes without that community questionnaires. In the past, we've had questionnaires about things. A couple of things, couple of rhetorical questions that I know can't be answered. It would be nice if paragraph 14 and 15 about the termination policy could be read so we understand if he does get the extension. Make sure we're not in for a huge financial issue. And also, I was going to talk about the milk and honey.
Thank you. Maria?
Well, good evening, everyone. Superintendent Dr. Chernis, Executive Cabinet Graduate Member, Trustees, President Blades. My name is Maria Lupita Stubbs. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you for obtaining the $200,000 state pathway grant for the Universal Sports Institute. I encourage the district to continue going after grants and further bring innovative programs that entice the community, such as the one you're mentioning, another 500K. As it pertains to the USI, I would like to share the reality of the positive impact this program will bring to the families in our district. Let's take the example of a family in my area, Area 2. This is a family of a single mother of 2 children working 2 jobs. One of them who has unfortunately been deeply and negatively affected by the COVID lockdowns. This student dreams he can be an athlete, that he can play sports. He knows money is tight, and on top of that, he has been discouraged before to pursue athleticism as he does not yet possess the skills. As the USI opens up this coming school year, this student is thrilled to be able to ride the school bus, come into the USI after school hours, and become the athlete he has been dreaming of. And his mom does not have to worry about how to finance that. This is what we call putting kids first. I would also like to inquire about the $22 million on the capital bonds. Can we please have an update? The community is concerned. Can we revisit the topic? We're going to be paying $280 million in the upcoming decades.
Thank you. Lupe?
I want to first say thank you for letting me have the time to come and speak to you up in the front. I'm a little nervous and a little excited. And thank you, Dr. Chermes, for doing your diligent job in removing books and stuff that are not professional in education. You know, my standpoint as a parent, you know, none of the other schools have done their job in doing what you did, so I applaud you for that. And a lot of people hold a job and a title and they failed to do so. So congrats to doing something that nobody has done before. So thank you for that. I come to support Brad, and he is from the PC Adapted Fitness Program. And I want to share with you a little bit about how my daughter became part of his program. She graduated from Valencia back in June of 2022. And Jasmine is autistic. She will be turning 21 tomorrow. And she's been in his program for 6 months. My daughter's own words, she has said, it has helped her to stay more focused. And I have seen some change physically and as well as her posture. I do believe that Brad will be a great fit to UCI, and he has an amazing way of working with the students with special needs. So please give him that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move on to our action items with Ed Services. I need a motion, please. 16.1.
I'll make the motion to adopt the Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, and federal addendum for the 2024-2025 fiscal year.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Youngblood, and I have a second by Mr. Frazier. Dr. Young.
Thank you. Good evening, President Blades, Board of Trustees, Dr. Chernes, Executive Cabinet, and members of the community. It is my pleasure to present to you this evening Placentia-Yorba Linda's local indicators as measured by the State Board of Education's approved standards within each priority area. California's accountability system is based on 8 state priorities. In order to measure each of these priorities, the state has established both state measures and local indicators. Local indicators are the measures for some of the state priorities that are not collected and reported by the state. The chart before you summarizes the state's 8 priorities and shows the breakdown between what is measured by the state versus those that are measured by each district. We are required to report our progress on 5 local indicators referred to as priorities. Priority 1, which focuses on basic services. Priority 2, which focuses on the implementation of the California state standards. Priority 3, which focuses on parent engagement. Priority 6, which focuses on school climate and measures student perceptions of engagement and safety. and Priority 7, which focuses on course access, which measures student access to and enrollment in a broad course of study. The information collected can be based on either qualitative or quantitative data, and we use local surveys, in-house reports, state reflective tools, and self-assessments. First, we have Priority 1, which focuses on basic services, specifically appropriately assigned teachers, access to curriculum-aligned materials, and clean and functional school facilities. The results for the Human Resources Report reported 0 teacher misassignments and 0 vacant teacher positions. The Williams Compliance Report showed that all students have access to curriculum-aligned materials, and the overall rating from the Facilities Inspections Tool, which are FIT reports, indicated that all school facilities received the highest rating of good. Next is Priority 2, which focuses on the implementation of state standards. A self-analysis tool coupled with stakeholder survey data were used to quantify the progress in the implementation of state standards. The self-analysis tool is aligned to a rubric that contains the 5 metrics shown on the screen, ranging from Stage 1, Research and Investigation, to Stage 5, Full Implementation and Sustainability. The Educational Services staff has evaluated each content area in detail and reports full implementation for all subjects, with curriculum and professional development offered in all areas. In order to provide an additional metric to quantify progress for this local indicator, we use our stakeholder survey data. Results reported by responding teachers, parents, support staff, and students indicate satisfaction when responding to the questions pertaining to the communication of standards, high academic expectations for students, effective classroom instruction as well. We firmly believe that these favorable results are directly related to the priority that we place on seeking ongoing and frequent input from our educational partners as a ways of ensuring that we continue to improve in these areas. And now Mrs. Gray will share about priorities 3 and 6.
Next are the results for Priority 3, which focuses on parental engagement. To quantify progress, the state requires us to use specific prompts to measure parental engagement. Thus, we have embedded these prompts into our annual survey in order to rate our outcomes. We created a crosswalk to correspond to the scale of the state's self-reflection rating of a score from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest rating on the state's 5-point scale. Survey responses showed in the areas involving building relationships, building partnerships for student outcomes, and seeking input for decision making, the rating was a 5 out of 5. Priority 6 focuses on school climate and asks us to measure student perceptions of school safety and connectedness. Again, for this measure, we utilized our student survey data to collect responses for 3 different prompts on the annual survey from students in grades 5, 8, and 10. And we also asked the same 3 questions of our 12th graders in the senior survey. In the area of safety, statistics were 83% at the 5th grade, 71% at the 8th grade, 73% at the 10th grade, and 76% at the 12th grade responded positively to I feel safe. In order to measure student belongingness, students were asked if they feel they belong at their school. 79% of 5th grade students, 72% of 8th grade students, 71% of 10th grade students, and 68% of 12th grade students responded positively. Finally, when students were asked if teachers and other adults care about me, 87% of 5th grade students, 75% of 8th grade students, 70% of 10th grade students, and 78% of 12th grade students responded positively. Site leaders also have access to the same data at the school site level, allowing them to better identify their own students' areas of highest need pertaining to school climate for each of their campuses in order to plan for next year. This will be an area of focus of the Student Support Services Department as well.
And finally, the last local indicator is for Priority 7, which measures course access. We are required to use our own measures to track the extent to which all students have access to and are enrolled in a broad course of study, based on grade spans, unduplicated student groups, which includes our English learners, low-income students, and foster youth, as well as individuals with exceptional needs. Starting at the elementary level, we are pleased to report that all students receive a broad course of study, including all of the 6 listed content areas, with increased access to our visual and performing arts this year through the Arts and Music funding. For students in grades 7 through 12, a broad course of study includes courses in English, social sciences, world languages, physical education, science, mathematics, visual and performing arts, applied arts, and career technical education. To analyze access for our secondary students, we pulled enrollment and completion data in a broad range of classes among all significant student groups over the past 2 years. Results for the past 2 years show that we are increasing access and support for our unduplicated students in A to G course offerings, but a gap still exists. As such, we will continue to engage and enhance planned actions to mitigate this concern. Some of the planned actions to address this need and are part of our LCAP include continuing to implement our targeted intervention program both during and outside of the school day on each campus to enhance academic success in all core subjects, a district-wide focus on first best instructional strategies and differentiation in the classroom to meet the needs of all of our students, ensuring that cultures of college and career readiness are pervasive at all high schools, continuing to refine the PLC practice and process to ensure student progress is consistently measured, discussed, and supported across all sites, focusing on algebra readiness for freshmen who are entering high school, and expanding our A to G offerings across all high schools, including at El Camino. As a result of measuring this data, reporting the results to you, and uploading the results to the California dashboard by July 1st, which we have already done, we have successfully met the local indicators requirements. We thank you for your time this evening and would like to open up to any questions or feedback.
Looks good.
I would like to thank you for providing the opportunity for Mrs. Anderson and I to come in and finish the last set of areas that we didn't get a chance to during our LCAP presentation for the board. So I appreciate that.
Of course, our pleasure.
Yeah, I was just going to also bring that up, and also I'm really appreciative of the extra matrix that are built in through the LCAP, because it makes it easier for us to have accurate data next year when we're evaluating everything. So thank you to you and your team for all the hard work they've done on that. And I also would love to highlight adding the extra goals and things for bringing the CTA program initiatives more present to our parents. Thank you for adding that additional in there from our feedback. And one last thing I noticed, the one thing that we're missing that was brought up, and I know it's not going to happen this year, so I'm not saying for this year, and I'm not even recommending it, but I really want us to look into the future as more kids graduate in the dual language program, that there's more variety of offerings in the high school for them, you know, so that they could earn certifications. And I know that it's been kind of problematic that they might not be ready for that yet because of the pandemic, and we're changing our models. But I would love us to keep that focused so that these students are placed well when they graduate and being trained in certain things, and somehow always keep that in our mind to work on it. So thank you.
Real quick, Dr. Young, I just want to thank you and your team for breaking it down, making it simplistic, easy enough for someone like me to understand. So, thank you again.
Of course. And it's a team effort with all the departments, and especially the business department for all their help with the LCAP.
Yeah, the numbers would be possibly wrong if the business department wasn't involved, right? Yeah, a lot of work. I like the new format. I like the matrix, because like you said, it's really great to be able to just go through and you can compare and we can contrast for next year. So a lot of work. Great job. Looking forward to it.
Gary, it's true. You did the LCAPs at OC Department of Education, correct? You had a big part of that.
I don't know if I'm going to claim credit for that, but yes, I did LCAP reviews with the county. Yes.
So I thank everyone, because we did do it differently this year, but I think it was super effective. And, you know, at first I think there was a little bit of a freak out about, you know, the change and stuff, but I think did become more efficient. I would just like to thank our team also, because it looks like everything this year was positive. We improved in so many areas, and it's all due to the hard work of our teachers and our staff and everybody working together. So much appreciative.
We also saved $75,000 by doing it ourselves and
Yes,
not
we
hiring a
did.
consultant to
Yes.
assist with it.
Yeah, so we did save money. So all good. Nothing but positives. All right, are we ready to vote? Okay. You have a decision?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. The motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our graduated board member.
Could I pause just for a second?
Sure.
Emily needs to take a test tonight for
Oh.
college, and so I told her that she could leave any time, but she wanted to make sure that she had the opportunity to say thank you and goodbye. So thank you for being here, Emily. We really will miss you.
Thank you.
Keep in touch.
Good luck, Emily.
She's ready.
Yeah. All right, can I have a motion, please, for 16.2?
I'll make a motion to adopt the local control and accountability plan for the Orange County School of Computer Science for the 24-25 fiscal year.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Frazier. I have a second by Mrs. Anderson. Is there any discussion on this, or are we going straight to a vote? All right.
Anything else to add?
Anybody have anything? Perfect. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. Can I have a motion for 17.1?
I'll make a motion we adopt resolution 23.23-28 to approve the education protection account for the 24-25 fiscal year.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck. I have a second by Mr. Youngblood and Mr. Stein.
Thank you very much. Good evening, President Blades, Board Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Chernis, Executive Cabinet, family, friends, staff members, and community members. So item 17.1, the Education Protection Account was created by Proposition 30, approved by voters in November of 2012. Proposition 30 imposed incremental taxes, which were dispersed from the State General Fund in order to offset the state's contribution to Prop 98. So really it's a kind of trading funds between Prop 98 and the EPA account. In November of 2016, voters approved Prop 55, which extended the taxes through 2030. So we'll have this through 2030. The revenues that are generated are accounted for in what is called the Education and Protection Account, or the EPA. Each year, districts are required to determine how much of those funds will be received and how they will be spent. And then there's restrictions on that. For 24-25, staff is estimating that we will receive approximately $4.6 million from the state's EPA account, and all of these funds will be spent on classroom teacher salaries. We are recommending that the board adopt Resolution 23-28 as included in the agenda.
Thank you. Do we have any comments?
Sounds like a good place to spend money.
Will you repeat the dollar amount?
4.6 million.
Thank you.
Rounded.
Okay. If everything looks good, I'm thinking we're ready to vote.
Yep.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. Can I have a motion for 17.2?
I'll make. Go ahead.
Sure?
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 adopted budget.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Anderson. I have a second by Mr. Frazier, and I'm going to go back to you, Gary.
Thank you again. It's easier for me to stand up when I present, so I traded places on you. There are a lot of slides, so I apologize for the length of this presentation tonight. There's some of them that are in there for information, so I might skip over those so that we're not, I don't keep you here too long. So thank you again for having me speak. Tonight we're going to go over our 24-25 adopted budget. The report is based on the latest financial information that we have available and the assumptions that we have available. And it also contains our estimated estimated expenditures for the current 23-24 school year. Our topics for tonight, we're going to talk about the state's fiscal outlook. We're going to talk about the proposal from the governor and his May revise, as well as the legislative plan. Our budget assumptions and considerations. We're changing the format a little bit tonight so that we can talk about the enrollment that Dr. Chernis mentioned, and also some of our ADA or our attendance rates that we're seeing as well, and why that looks a little different this year as we prepare our 24-25 budget. We'll talk about our multi-year projection and budget challenges as well. So, the state fiscal outlook. According to the UCLA Anderson forecast, this came out a week or so ago, the U.S. economy is slow, right? We're not in a decline, we're not in a recession, we are slowly growing, but it is slower than what we would like to see. California in 2024 is actually growing slower than the rest of the nation. And, but UCLA predicts that in 2025 and 2026, California will actually grow faster than the rest of the U.S., so we're looking forward to that. The good news in the report really has to do with stabilization. When we talk about inflation, I know we all feel it, I know that we all experience that every day, but it is it's growing at a level that's stagnant. So we're at about 2.2 to 3% inflation, and it's hovering in that area. Unemployment seems to hover around normal for California, which is good. And then the federal funds rates are stabilizing as well. So we're not expecting any huge increases or decreases. All of that bodes well for the stock market, which is what a lot of California's income is based on. We get that from people who sell their stocks and have capital gains, but that doesn't happen when the market just keeps going, right? So we're not experiencing that right now. The risks that are out there are, you know them all, right? We have wars that are going on outside the U.S. We have trade issues that we're discussing, and then we also have in California the unique challenge of housing availability and affordability here in this area. So this just shows that stabilization on the far right. And I'm going to skip this just because I saved some time, but it just shows you the stability between 2023 and 2024, that those rates and everything are leveling off and they're hovering in that same area. Again, stability is good when it comes to the economy. So the May revise. There wasn't a lot of good news for school districts in the May revise. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have a budget shortfall of $45 billion. And I'll show you the graph in the next slide about that. And this all ties back to when we delayed our tax receipts from April all the way to October, and the state built a budget based on what it assumed it was going to get. And what's happening, we're still living with that because we have a budget shortfall from that. As a result of the budget shortfall, the governor proposed some adjustments, proposed what's called a Proposition 98 maneuver. I'm not going to get too much into that because that was changed by the efforts in the legislature to suspend Prop 98. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll get into the details. But we're trying to operate schools when funding is really kind of flat, I'll say. And so we have a low LCFF COLA, and then the state is also proposing programs that are going to be reduced, delays in funding, deferrals until the next year, and those kind of things. All of that package is what the state's using to balance the budget. When we talk about a revenue shortfall, this graph really highlights that. So when you look at the 2021-22 year, and then you look at 22-23, you see that $45 billion drop. And that happened because of that, again, that delay in taxes, and we assumed that upward momentum we were seeing in 2020 was going to continue. It didn't. And so now we have a huge revenue shortfall for that year. And sorry, I should have mentioned, the big three revenues are personal income tax, corporate tax, and sales and use tax. Those are the big three that fund the state. I'm going to skip over this one because it gets into the minutia of Prop 98. I'll talk a little bit about the suspension here in a second. So statutory COLA. Let's talk about this for a second. When we met a year ago, the state had committed to, or at least I'd say proposed, a statutory COLA for the coming year of 3.94%. What we've landed at is 1.07. Okay, that is a huge decrease that the district is going to have to absorb, and that drop of 2.87% alone is about $8 million in funding that we will not receive next year. So it's a huge drop that we're seeing there. The governor and the legislature are working to create a plan by way and all the major points are here. But the goal of this plan, which we should be grateful for, is to really avoid creating a situation for public schools where they have to start taking money away. So what all of this proposal and suspending Prop 98, what it does is it allows the state to balance the budget over a 2-year period by withdrawing everything or nearly everything out of the rainy day reserve that they've been building for the last several years in order to backfill what was lost and balance the budget over a 2-year period. So that's where we're at state-wise. That's why they can't afford to fund a higher COLA. And then there's some programs on here that will be eliminated or delayed. Most of those programs, the last two, Placentia-Yorba does not qualify for anyway, based on our demographics. So it's just how they're using the state funds to backfill. Let's see. Suspending Prop 98, I just want to touch on that just for a second. What that means is that they're suspending it for last year, or the current year, 2023-24. What that does is it takes the year prior and makes that the base of how they're going to be measuring the state's progress in future years. So it sets that as our funding level, and then it creates an environment where now the state's going to fund us at a lower level this year, and it creates what's called a maintenance factor. A maintenance factor, what that means is it's a state IOU, right? It's a loan that they're making to themselves, or we're making to them, to say that they will pay us back at some point. That's what happens when you suspend Proposition 98. What I'll tell you is, and I can hear the smirks, even though they don't make noise, but the state, actually, we've had this before. This is not an uncommon thing. We've had the maintenance factor, and the state does pay it back. I can't tell you when, but it does get paid back over time because it's built into law, it's built into our Constitution. So, and I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time. But budget assumptions and considerations. You're going to see this slide a couple more times. This is what some of the assumptions we use when we build our budget. And I highlighted in green our enrollment and in blue our attendance rates of what we're assuming for this year's budget that we're building out. The enrollment that you're seeing, we still build in a 400 student loss every year. And the reason for that is because budgeting is a perfectly imperfect science, in that we have to use what we've got, the data, what we've experienced up to this point, to build the budget. That's how you build a conservative budget, so that if anything better happens, great, right? It works out great for the district. If we budgeted the opposite way and things didn't happen, it could create problems. The same thing with attendance rate, the 94%. If you remember what you saw, which none of you probably remember the presentation from March, but the attendance rate we were assuming back then was 93.5%. And we had a conversation about what 1% attendance improvement means. And so we've actually bumped that up a little bit, and I'll tell you why. So when we talk about enrollment, this is our past practice, or our pattern since 2016-17. We've lost about 400 students a year. What you'll notice is what's in blue down at the bottom is a potential increase compared to 23-24. And I'm going to show you the numbers of why that is and why we're considering that. We usually lose 400 students, or around 400 students. Well, this current year, we lost 289, which is great. I mean, it's terrible, but it's great as well. It's less than what we had planned. But what I'm going to show you next kind of helps explain why we're in this situation where we need to really watch our enrollment, because we feel like there's a changing trend. When we monitor enrollment all year long, okay? When we look at the data that we've been seeing this year, but I'm taking you back to a couple of weeks ago on June 5th, you look at our current enrollment, 22,576, and then you look at what our feeder pattern enrollment is, it's just a couple hundred students off, okay? That's not usually the case. Okay, usually we're quite a bit further away. That has since gone up. But what this factors in is all of our 12th graders leaving. It includes everybody shifting the grade, moving up, and these are students that have enrolled in our district. Okay, these are students who have said yes, we're coming to the district. The next line you'll see is it just says typical enrollment between June and August. We have a huge amount of our population that does not enroll until the end of the summer. And every year we get about 800 to 900 students that enroll between June and August. And so we're expecting that. Do they all show up? No, they don't. But a good portion of them do, and they become our regular enrollment and they show up every day. So we have those students coming. On top of that, we have our preschool students who are aging out to where they are eligible for TK, or transitional kindergarten. We have around 300 or a little over 300 students who are eligible for transitional kindergarten but who have not enrolled yet. Our statistics for that from the last few years is about 80 to 85% of those students will enroll. That's where the 180 to 190 additional students are going to come from, is that. And we're expecting those students, we just don't count them because they haven't enrolled yet, right? What's that? Don't count your chickens before they're hatched. This is what it's about. So we have a lot of additional enrollment still coming to the district that we're anticipating between now and the beginning of the school year. That's why our enrollment trends are changing a little bit, which is why you'll hear us talk a lot about that. I'm not counting, I'm the numbers guy, I'm not going to count on that until they're here, right? But it looks like it's different this year. And what I'll tell you is around the county, it is different this year, but we're seeing a bigger trend here. This takes you back to the last presentation, like I mentioned, 93.5%. We bumped that up to 94, but I want to show you what we actually saw. So when we finalize all of the reports and all of the data, for 23-24, we hit 94.95% attendance. That's fantastic compared to what we've seen in years past. It's absolutely far below our historical norm for this district, right? Especially on our elementaries, you're talking more like high 96, 97%. Our high schools and middle schools are a little bit lower. That's to be expected. But 94.95 means we're making progress. We're still not going to assume 94.95 next year. We're going to assume 94, right, to be conservative. But we're hoping that we will go beyond this. And so whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Keep sending the kids to school. It's working. So I'm going to skip over this because we talked about the COLA. That's really the only change to the second interim is the COLA. They were giving us 0.76, and we're going to get 1.07 instead. But I'm circling back to our assumptions. So these are our final assumptions that we use to build our budget. And so again, you'll see the 94%. You're also going to see 400 student loss every year. So when we get to the number slide and you see that there's a lot of red, a lot of that has to do with the fact that we lost $8 million in state funding, and we're still assuming that we're losing 400 students, okay? So when we get to our multi-year projection, which is the next slide, this is what you're going to see. So we're expecting to end the year $3.2 million in surplus, which is good, and that really came from a lot of payments that we were expecting to make that did not come yet. So they are going to be made next year. And so we build that into the assumption. You'll see we're expecting a deficit spending of $9.6 million, again, based on the fact that we have not increased our enrollment projections in there, or our attendance. Those two factors alone could make that not negative, right? So we are hoping to bring back, or we will bring back, obviously, the budget as we get to the first interim, and we expect to see that number change significantly. Our ending fund balance for the coming year is going to be $59 million, $59.6 million. This gives you the breakdown of where that's going. We still maintain a 10% reserve for contingencies and for economic uncertainty. Even with 3 years of projected deficits, we still meet all of our reserve requirements for the state, which means we are able to absorb this. I forgot to mention that with deficit spending, you do that on, I won't say on purpose, but you do it when the school district is seeing a huge decrease in funding, and you do that also to make sure that you don't impact student programs right away. That's why you deficit spend. That's what we're doing here, is making sure that we take our time to make sure that we're doing the right thing over the next year. So that's the ending fund balance. As promised, we've got the rest of the funds.
Mr. Stein, can I stop here?
Yes, please.
This is also important for the board to see and the community to see that these two slides represent funds that were prior years never presented in a public presentation to the community or the board. These are all funds, not just the general fund. This makes up over $40 million of other funds the district has. So when we talk about fiscal transparency, this is fiscal transparency. Having conversations about our child development fund, our cafeteria fund, our deferred maintenance fund, our facilities funds, none of this happened in public during any of these budget presentations, even though they were called all funds budget presentations. So Mr. Stein, I appreciate this. This is what we need to do at every budget presentation, is talk about all the funds the district has. And so that's what we're doing today, and that's what we'll continue to do.
I just want to clarify, you keep saying that, but that's not true. 2011, 2012, I have this one.
Yes, those are the SACS forms. That's not what I said.
All funds budgets.
That's not what I said,
And we had
Ms. Buck. What I
presentations to
said
that
was
too.
none of the presentations to the community and the board, as we're watching now, this is called a budget presentation, none of those ever had all funds.
They all had all funds, and we don't have a recording of it, so
documents-
you can't actually prove that that's not the case.
I can,
These
because
prove
on
it.
our website, the PowerPoint presentations titled All Funds never had all funds in them. And I will send them all to you.
So you're assuming, but these here, all of them show we've had all funds budget.
I'm
I
not-
have seen them every year. So
I'm not
thank you very
arguing
much.
that all funds are presented to the state. What I'm saying is, and which is factual and true, is that PowerPoint presentations by the business department to the board in the last 5 years never had all funds.
Not true.
And I will provide those to the board to prove it.
Just it.
Those aren't PowerPoint presentations.
Those aren't
We're
presentations.
talking about the
Those are not presentations.
Saying that we
Those
don't
are SACS
understand
forms
or don't
uploaded to
get
the state
all funds
website.
budget is not true. We've
That-
had it all this time.
The SACS forms uploaded to the state, you're talking about the 250-page forms in that book, have always been attached. That is
Thank you.
correct. They have never been presented to the board or the community
Yes, they
in
have.
public.
Yes, they have.
No public presentation like this in the last 5 years has had all funds like
it was
this.
since the history of the district, and now it's 5 years. It's not
The
true.
last
I have
5
seen
years
them.
worth of PowerPoint presentations on all budgets never had these funds.
I'm just confused then why did we have to have a special board meeting to talk about the $43 million that we didn't know about if it had been presented and we knew where the money was?
It was presented.
It was presented since I've been here. And the special board meeting we had was to come up with a 5-year plan to spend the money.
That
not
we didn't know we had.
Which has actually since changed.
Yeah, and
We had a
I'm not sure
budget
why we
study
did it
session.
because we've changed it
We
completely.
had a budget study session to
I'm sorry,
review
Mr.
all
Stein.
funds, because all funds have never been presented in a presentation. At every budget interval, the district has presented a presentation like this for the last 5 years. They were titled All Funds Budget Presentations. None of them had all of these funds.
I think we can agree to disagree on this, and we should move on.
Agreed.
It's factual, and I'll provide it to the board.
Let's move on, please.
24-25 adopted budget, other district funds. This shows you the projections for. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, who's talking?
Keep going,
It's okay.
Mr. Stein.
So this is what we're projecting for 24-25. You'll notice there's significant differences in some of the funds, like the county schools fund, which the majority of that is being used for the El Dorado lights. So that'll be spent before next year. and you'll see other changes there as well. There was something pointed out in a previous session about, or a board meeting, about the cafeteria fund being having a high-end balance. One of the reasons, or there's a few reasons for that. Number one is that the state's funding for our school lunch program has always been a little fickle. And so they have at times not funded the lunch program. And so we always strive to maintain at least 6 months of operating revenue in there, which is about $6.5 to $7 million. That allows us to continue feeding kids if the state ran out of money and couldn't fund that program. On top of that, there's other, we have a lot of equipment replacement that we need to do at school sites that are planned. And then we also have, we're saving money for our potential larger projects, such as kitchens and remodels and those kind of things. So just wanted to make sure.
Can I ask you a quick question about that?
Sure.
The kitchen fund, in this, you mentioned that it's going to come, the kitchen at Valencia, some of it will be coming out of the cafeteria fund. In the last, or in a previous budget we had, it was all coming out of developer fees. Has that changed?
It would have still come out of this fund either way. So what cafeteria funds can't do is fund the building. Everything inside of that building can be paid for out of cafeteria funds, and so that's either way. We would have been using a chunk of this cafeteria fund to populate, equip the building. Okay. And then, so budget challenges, not a lot has changed on this other than we have changing enrollment trends. Usually I talk to you about declining enrollment trends. Now I have changing enrollment trends because change, like I told you before, stability is great, right? Even if you can count, as things you can count on, enrollment is changing. And so we're really watching that. We will obviously bring back as much information as we can to the board and the public as we move forward. Last but not least, I want to talk about our one-time funds. So I know that this slide just calls out COVID relief funding, but this actually includes all of our one-time funds that we have, and we have staffing attached to it. And so as that funding starts ending, we need to figure out how we're going to adjust. And so as of September of this year, all of the ESSER money, which is the COVID-19, the federal COVID-19 money, all needs to be spent by September 30th of this year, meaning of 2024. And so that's going to require us, and we've already made some adjustments to staffing to accommodate for that, which is why you'll see FTE changes between the two. And so we just need to watch this because this is an area where districts get into trouble because we have staff members attached to one-time funds. So finally, the budget timeline. The state actually did pass their budgets before the June 15th deadline. It still hasn't been approved by the governor, so there's still some negotiation going on. We're meeting here tonight. By June 30th, the governor will approve a final state budget, and then we will be incorporating any changes. If there are major shifts, meaning a material change in budget between now and when the governor signs, we would be back in 45 days to give you a revise of our budget. I can tell you based on, and you saw with the slide about the projected revenues, the state is not going to have money to be able to do anything significant beyond what they're doing. And so I don't anticipate that we'll have any major shifts in the funding. And so because of that, we'll be back with estimated actuals in October, and then we'll be back with our first interim in December. And so before I finish, I just want to make sure that I thank my team, who are amazing, the business services team for their amazing work this year. I'm blessed to have such a great team. Thank you for them, by the way. They're a great team. But they did a lot of hard work, diligent work building the budget, building the presentation. They're gifted people. Really thankful for them. And thank you for your patience for this really, really long presentation. This is the longest one yet since I've been here in a year. So I want to thank you for that, and then ask if there's any questions.
I just wanted to clarify because we've received some emails that we had. I know that we haven't laid off any teachers, but we did have staffing that was under the temp status. And so since it was used under that one-time money, that's the explanation as to why a week or two ago there were some slips that were sent out. And the reason we got some emails, it was because it was used for the one-time fund. And so those employees did know that there was going to be an end to this, correct? So it wasn't
That's
surprise
my
because of the
understanding,
one-time
yes.
money.
It's because of that, and it's also because honestly, the district has over the years not really adjusted as we've had a lot of one-time money. So yes, you're right, but it's been kind of a trickling off effect of multiple years of one-time funding that's been used to kind of keep the budget afloat. And so that's what you're saying.
So first of all, a lot of work. This is very in depth and it's good. I appreciate how you used air quotes when you talked about state revenues because it's taxes.
Did I do that?
Yeah, you did. It was great. I loved it.
It wasn't on purpose.
The one question I had, well, a couple different questions, but the first one on the enrollment numbers, the difference between the 23-24 and the 24-25 feeder pattern enrollment, that's like a 400 around 396. That is the net difference between all of the graduates we had and then the kids moving up, correct?
Yes, and everybody enrolled to this point.
Yeah, and then we're saying that there typically is between 800 and 900 more towards the end of the summer, and then younger kids that aren't involved yet. So we really have a big potential. Well, I'm not going to say that it's real. But I'm just
remember,
saying.
people enroll and don't
Right?
show up, right? So we need to
Right.
keep that in mind. But it
I just
is
wanna make sure I'm understanding
it's
that
not
right.
it's not like 100% don't show up.
Sure.
Right? It's still a good chunk.
Yeah,
so
we
regardless.
are budgeting the loss, but this could be a game changer for us.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about the tune of $15,000 to $20,000 a kid, depending
Yeah.
on how we average. 400 kids, we're talking about $6-7 more million ongoing a year. If we just hit even, not even go up, but just not lose 400 kids.
Yeah.
And just stay flat. So this is a game changer, and this is honestly why we are doing so many things we're trying to do to attract families.
Absolutely. Yeah. That helps clarify. I just wanted to make sure I understood that right. So.
Okay, I went through the budget, and I have a couple questions. One, on page 19, there's budget highlights for programs. And it says here outdoor education. We've only budgeted, looks like 227,000, but out of our arts, music, and instructional block grant, we have budgeted, and what we approved was 400,000. So I'm trying to, I keep asking, like how much did we spend, because parents paid a lot of money to go to camp, and we only subsidized a small portion of those students. So are we trying to help everybody, or are we just helping certain students?
Want to jump in? Help me with that one. Yeah, that's one of the questions that came in today. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We are still encouraging our schools and families to fundraise and provide funding for camp where possible, because these are one-time funds that will expire in a few years. And so we are providing supplemental funding for any families who cannot, so that they can attend the outdoor science school.
And I know that money will expire, but I'm just like, let's help the families now. Since we have the $400,000 budgeted per year, let's use it. And even if we're just subsidizing everybody a little bit, and then others, that can't afford it, larger amounts, but before this money is, let's spend this money on the kids. If we budgeted 400,000 for this year on science camp, then we should spend 400,000 on science camp this year. This budget doesn't accurately reflect how much we approved for next year, and then the following year is also 400,000. So I just want to make sure we're spending our dollars that we budgeted on the kids as appropriate.
Understood.
So
We'll go back
I'm
and
not
take a
sure
look at
how
that.
we fix this, but I would love to see that this adjusted to 400,000.
Is there a need higher than what we've budgeted? Because it's based on
It
need for the students. Depends.
from the understanding is that we
It's a
cover what's
payment
not
from the
covered.
parents.
No, I understand that part.
Yeah, we get that.
Yeah, but if
But
every
I
sixth
guess-
grader got $100 off,
But what about the sixth grader that needs more?
well,
than
that's what I'm saying.
I think this was
We
I
should
think
spend
too,
it on the kids.
this was the first year that we provided science camp to everybody. So I think this was kind of like our pilot year. Like, how is this all going to come out, and how is this all going to, you know?
Lessons learned,
So
yeah.
I think this discussion is good because this was kind of like our pilot year, and then now, like, moving forward, we'll know how to better budget the money.
Right, that's absolutely correct because it's impossible to guess how many students were going to participate each year, but we do know the average cost per student, and we did know the amount of students that would be coming out of our more impacted schools where they would be unable to fund, and that's how we arrived at the 400,000. But that is why we couldn't say across the board we're going to discount outdoor science school. We needed to see what the actuals are, which will be in August from the business department.
I think your comment, Gary, of perfect budgets are perfectly imperfect, which is exactly an example of this, because I agree. All kids should be able to go to science camp, and we don't know what that exact need is. So if we need to go over that number, we should be able to facilitate that. But at this point, it seems like based on the first year of doing this, we won't need to do that. Is that what we're understanding?
Right.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
You know, come the fall, we'll know how many sixth graders we have, right? And so right now we're guessing, and so but we'll have a better number in the fall.
Yeah, I've just seen a lot of gifts received for a lot of outdoor science camp, and I just want to make sure we're helping all the families. I mean, some families obviously need more help, and other families. So can we adjust this back up to the 400,000?
Shouldn't we wait till August?
It's an estimate, and
Well,
I think if all of us agree that if we need to spend more money, then we should spend more money.
Well,
to
I
get
think
kids there.
this is a budget, right? So we can absolutely, when we look at our estimated actuals in September and see the actuals, we can adjust it for sure.
Okay. Because that's what we approved was 400,000. So
In a budget that's perfectly imperfect. Totally agree.
Agreed.
Want
Yeah.
to make sure that we
I'm like-
don't miss kids. I get it.
And I love every parent should love a little help.
I think we all agree with that.
I think
nobody up here would disagree.
Right. So I just want to make sure we're doing that. And then the other thing I noticed that was in here on with all the programs, there was no budget for USI. And that is a program, and do we have a budget? Because I
It's
didn't
part
find
of
it.
Parkview.
But it's a program.
Yeah, we didn't
These are
split up.
programs.
We don't, I'll let you answer that.
No, we don't break it up by the sites, so it's.
Because there's also not the engineering program and all that.
We don't
laid
break it
out.
up by programs or sites.
Okay. Because I've been asking for a budget for the personnel costs for USI for a very long time, and I still haven't seen it. We're approving almost $500,000 tonight for personnel, which we can talk at another time. But we need to see a budget. We need to know how much this program is costing us. We need to be responsible back to our taxpayers and our community.
Totally agree, and it's part of the Parkview budget. So that's where it is.
Okay, because when you go to the Parkview, it's not really there. What's this?
So you're saying it's wrong?
Well, when you go to the school budgets,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, that's transportation. Let's see, what page is the school budgets?
I think we're talking about site allocations, is what you're.
Yeah,
Site allocation
right
funding.
here.
That's a different purpose.
Yeah,
but
Parkview. So the only site allocation we have for Parkview.
That's an allocation.
Yeah.
That's not the budget. That's how
But
much we
I'm like,
allocate.
I haven't seen a Parkview budget.
You haven't seen any of the sites. We don't split them up by sites.
Yeah. Well, I got to see Bernardi-Yorba Charter School, so that was good.
But the charter school is a different situation.
Yeah.
Because USI is not a charter.
USI is not a charter.
But Parkview, it still has staff. Yeah.
Yeah, all the schools have staff. We don't break that down in the budget. None
And
of
they
the
also
schools.
get an allocation here as well on this.
Who?
Bernardi-Yorba.
Yeah, because they're a charter.
That allocation's
Different.
not the budget. That's how much. That's the allocation. Do you want to explain, Gary, what the site allocation means?
He's
done
tired.
standing.
My legs hurt. Okay, so the site allocations are really for site, the needs of the site. They're for, purchasing materials, or for, we have an allocation for extra transportation, for custodial supplies, all of that. And so it's really meant to be for the site to maintain that actual. what they need at that
They're not operating budgets with staffing costs.
Correct. I get that. They're from the LCFF and the supplement. So I'm just.
And others, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Do you know when we're gonna get a budget for USI, for the personnel?
It's separate. So, what else? There's contracts that are going to be approved tonight. That,
Yeah,
you know,
so that's a $500,000.
Right.
And then there's 11
Yeah,
other coaches.
we're definitely looking at putting personnel together. We won't know the cost for the personnel yet because we're still staffing it. But I will tell you that it'll be significantly less than the staffing costs for Buena Vista Virtual Academy, which was losing over $1 million a year. And we are talking about the budget. We are talking about, excuse me, please don't yell out. The entire budget for USI is, we're talking about 0.3% of our overall operating budget. So to single this out when we have programs losing money, I find it interesting that we're talking so much about 0.3% of our operating budget when we have the 99.7% of our budget allocated to other schools and programs.
It's just a question so that we're clear and we understand where all the money is going. That's our job.
Is the
Point taken.
assumption of the budget, Gary, the assumption of the budget that is balanced that we're looking at here does include all of the funding that would be for USI? Like that's not outside of the overall budget. Would that be correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So then the numbers that we're seeing here are all the numbers. It's just not maybe broken down to a granular level that.
No, we haven't broken down other pathways at all of our sites. We haven't even broken down school sites. That's not how these operating budgets work.
And I think the comment that was yelled from the back was that we got rid of BVA, which is not true. Okay. Anything else? All right, let's move for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. Can I have a motion, please, for 17.3?
I'll make a motion to approve the Orange County School of Computer Science Charter School 24-25 preliminary budget.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Frazier, and I have a second by Mr. Youngblood. Mr. Stein.
Thank you once again. Under Education Code 47604.33, charter schools are required to submit a preliminary budget to their authorizing school district by July 1 of each year. As a conversion charter with the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District, the Board of Education functions both as the governing board and the authorizer for Orange County School of Computer Science, OCSCS, as it will be included in the PYLUSD budget. The preliminary budget provides an estimate of the funding sources and expenditures for the charter school that have been extracted from the overall PYLUSD budget. So we'll be updating this and bringing this budget forward at each budget iteration. So you'll see this again updated based on what we're experiencing throughout the year. But this is the first version of that.
I have a question on this one. I thank you. I appreciate being able to see all of the different income and expenses going in and out. The section at the bottom, the reserves, fees, and transfers. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and what that means?
Yes. So as a school within the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District, all of the administrative costs associated with the district, including the district office staff, maintenance and operations, all of that, those are built into the costs of this charter school. So that while the revenue is going to we're extracting that, saying this is how much revenue is generated, we're also including all the expenses as well, including contributions to special education and the facilities and maintenance, the share of costs associated with maintaining sites. Basically, it covers everything to make sure that all of the site costs are included there.
All of the funds that we've invested into the charter school at this point this year, including the lab and various programs and all of that, where is that going to ultimately settle, or is that going to be identified somewhere in a charter school budget? Like as we wrap up this year, is all of that going to be attributed to that school, or when will that be?
No, because those are district expenses in the 23-24 school
So
year.
the whole build out, including the the lab and all of that additional stuff. Anything spent in this current year will not be part of this. Any
it wouldn't
budget
be part of
toward-
the operating. It's like when if we put in a science lab at a school, it's one-time money that we're using for the science lab, right? There's difference between one-time capital expenses and operating expenses.
So we won't actually see what the total cost of the capital expenses or anything
Oh, we can
to build
we
it
can
out.
Absolutely, we can. You
That
can
would
see
be
all
great.
that.
I would
But
love to see that.
The question of whether it'll be in next year's budget, it wouldn't be.
Well, doesn't matter if it's in next year's budget. It wouldn't, because it's already being done for this year's budget. But I would love to see a comprehensive list of what that cost to build all that
Because
out
you were
is.
asking if it was going to be in here, though.
I knew it wouldn't be in here.
Okay.
I was wondering where it's
Where
going to
coming from,
ultimately
in the
show up.
actuals for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Cool.
I'm just really grateful that we see a budget and we see how the money's going to be spent, and this is kind of what I've been asking for a long time. So thank you very much.
Yeah, because it's a charter, and this is how it's required to be done. That's good.
Yeah. We knew it was coming. We just had to be patient. Are we ready for a vote?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right. Next, we go to action items.
Can we
Human.
Is it possible to take a quick break?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
And you might have to.
Yes, let's
keep
take
moving on.
5-minute break. All right, we're going to go into our human resources, 18.1. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve amendment number 1 to the employment contract for Dr. Alex Chernis.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Youngblood. I have a second by Mr. Frazier. And before we go into any comments, I think it was important to just clear up for our community that this is an extension of 1 year, because as we've seen, people have come up, and thank you to Yorba Linda Moms for putting out that this is an additional 4-year contract till 2031, and that if something happens and the board flips in November, they're going to pay him out for 4 years, and it's going to be $1 million, as somebody said. That is absolutely not true. It's actually, I think it's state law that says that, Ed Code state law, that you can only be paid out for 12 months at the end of your contract, or termination. And so also, we did, part of Dr. Chernis's contract is that there doesn't have to be a superintendent evaluation to, relook at his contract, give any type of extensions. And what else was I missing here? It was also, we did do a superintendent evaluation in March of this year. It was agendized, and I consulted with our district attorney today, and he did state that Mrs. Anderson had asked for a superintendent evaluation, and he was in, our meeting on Zoom in March of 2024 to do so. I'd also like to say that that was my first superintendent evaluation that we had ever been a part of, because we didn't do one for Dr. Elsasser, and I know Mike Matthews was just an interim, and I believe he did about 11 months. So, and also too, as part of the evaluation, part of his contract, I'm just going to read it for you guys. It says the board may evaluate Dr. Chernis each year. Dr. Chernis shall cooperate with all the reasonable requests of the board in the evaluation process, including, for example, providing the board with proposed goals and objectives for the ensuing year. The failure, if any, of the board to evaluate Dr. Chernis shall be of no legal consequence. The district's policy or regulations, if any, governing administrative evaluations shall not apply to Dr. Chernis. And so I just wanted to get all of this out of the way before we go on to discuss this, because it was, I did see, I got a ton of questions from people that were listening to Yorba Linda Moms, and reached out, and they wouldn't change the post. So then, of course, you have to go and you have to make a post yourself and explain that this is not 4 additional years. This is just a year. And so another thing that we need to also let everybody know is that superintendents can only have the maximum of 4-year contracts. So there was no way that we could even legally have tried to extend it if it had gone to 7 or 8 years. And so what has been practiced around the state of California and in other districts is that when the contracts get opened up, you'll just, you can add another year. And so this is kind of a standard practice. So I just wanted to make sure everything was clear, that there's no $1.2 million payout if something happens, if he leaves, resigns, anything, termination, none of that. And then also too, there is no, we don't have to do an evaluation, but according to our attorney, David Huff, we did do an evaluation and he was a part of it in closed session in March of this year. Dr. Gates, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, President Blades, board members, Superintendent Dr. Turnus, my executive cabinet members. Tonight we bring forward an amendment to an employment contract for the board's consideration. It is common practice for employment contracts for the superintendent of schools to be extended at the end of the school year. This extension is for 1 additional year. Additionally, the amended contract also affords the superintendent the same vacation payout options as all other management. This amended contract has been vetted by council and is being presented to the board for approval.
Thank you very much. Any comments?
I have comments. So in March, I was the one that requested that we discuss superintendent evaluation, and it was just to discuss it. There was no evaluation done. There were no notes taken. There were no goals written. There were no report out to anything. So that's not accurate. Per our board bylaw, which is separate from the contract, the board has a responsibility to evaluate the superintendent. Board bylaw 2111.1 states, we shall evaluate the superintendent annually. Shall makes the evaluation required and not optional. This can be done through special meetings over the summer, as it typically is, with the final report out at a regular meeting, which could be done in August. Here's specifically what the bylaw says. The board shall annually conduct a formal evaluation of the superintendent's performance to assess his or her effectiveness in leading the district toward established goals. Evaluation criteria shall be agreed upon by the board and superintendent prior to the evaluation, and shall include, but not limited to, district goals, success indicators, educational management, and community leadership skills, and the superintendent's professional relationship with the board. The evaluation shall provide commendations in areas of strengths and achievement, provide recommendations for improving effectiveness in areas of concern or unsatisfactory performance, and serve as a basis for making decisions about salary increases and/or contract extension. The use of the word may in the superintendent's contract, stating does not supersede the bylaw. It works in alignment with the board bylaw. The board bylaw dictates what the board does, not what the superintendent does. You are incorrect regarding former superintendent evaluations, saying that they haven't been done. Past superintendents have all been evaluated, except for the 2 previous, because their employment did not succeed the next year. Jim L. Sasser, who announced his departure and as a result did not need an evaluation. Mike Matthews was an interim for 1 year and didn't need an evaluation. Greg Plutko, Doug Dominion, Dennis Smith all had annual evaluations except the year that they retired, which would have been unnecessary. So I will be voting no on this because we did not do an evaluation, and it needs to be done by the board to extend a contract.
So once again, his contract, I spoke to, you've received the email from David
I
Huff.
did receive that,
Right.
but that's
Can I
his
speak,
contract
please? Can I
and
speak, please?
not the board bylaw.
Okay, so the contract actually supersedes a board bylaw because a bylaw or a policy is not law. And so
The
also-
contract is over the superintendent. The board bylaw dictates our responsibilities. And our
Okay, I understand
responsibility
that.
is to evaluate the superintendent, which we did not do.
Okay, well, according to our attorney,
I'll vote no.
Very good. Our attorney was in March of 2024, and he did say right here, I believe the board did evaluate Dr. Turnus in the March timeframe, and I was in there. And so also, you can't sit here and say about Elsasser, because Elsasser started in 2021, January 2021. We did not do, Karen Freeman was the board president. We did not do a superintendent evaluation in 2021. You were board president in 2022. Elsasser was here until July. We did not do an evaluation in that 6-month period that Elsasser was here.
He was saying he was leaving. There was no point.
No, that's not true, because if you're going to say each year, then we are held accountable for that year. And that's exactly why we did ours in March.
We didn't do ours in March. It was a discussion leading up to it. We did not have an
So-
evaluation. Show me the goals. Show me any document that we provided or we
Is there-
did in that meeting.
There's
There
no,
wasn't a meeting.
There's no definition of what I've seen of what the evaluation must be. It says it needs to be an evaluation. It says it can have all those things. I don't know about you,
No,
but
it
I've
said
been
shall
evaluating.
have those things.
I've been evaluating the entire time that he's been here. I think there's a pretty good result of evaluation based on what he read at the superintendent, his report today.
So no formal evaluation by the board is what you're saying.
When we
So
got together,
just
and
so
it-
you all hear it.
And when we got together, we were trying to come up with goals and ways to evaluate them so we would have a system, but the majority of the board did not want to do that.
I
So,
think the
because you wanted to just evaluate as you went. So we left that
That doesn't
meeting
mean
with
that
no
negates,
evaluation.
That doesn't mean that negates an official.
But we never did an evaluation.
So,
We were trying to come up with goals and things.
We actually did.
There was a statement in the meeting
Mhm.
where Mr. Huff said, "Would you like this to just be his evaluation?" And I believe it was you that said yes.
No.
No, I would have never said
I would have never said that.
Okay, point of order. Rather than discussing closed session, which we should not be doing, we do have an opinion from our lawyer.
Yes, and let me read it. It says, even if the board evaluation did not occur, I do not see any legal prohibition to the board considering Dr. Chernus's contract at this time. In my view, the policy is not so strict as to inhibit the power of the board from taking any action on the contract. And this is from our legal counsel.
But as a board, it is our responsibility and we should be doing it.
Then why didn't we do it for Elsasser?
Because he left
It
the
now-
district.
What about the
no,
year
you
between?
can't-
Why
you
aren't we
can't-
doing it now? That's irrelevant.
Okay.
Why are
No,
we
it
not
is. Okay, so
doing
we're
it?
gonna
You're the
forget
one
about it
that's
now?
walking
So,
away from
well,
the
we
evaluation.
can't hold stuff accountable for, you can't hold one person accountable for something. Elsasser was here for 18 months.
And you
he had
can't
no
just say we don't need to
evaluation.
do an evaluation anymore because it
I
wasn't done at
believe-
that point. It's
I
just
can't
apples and
reveal-
oranges.
I can't reveal what happened in closed session, but I know what was said, what I said, and I know what he said, and I know what they said. And so we all know what we said, and we all know that what happened back there, and we've never been given any. I mean, we've never done a superintendent evaluation.
Exactly.
And so in the
As in
past.
ever.
As in ever. So if
As
we're
in ever.
sitting in here and we do it differently, and if we're just having this conversation and there's an agreement amongst the board, or there's agreements amongst ones that this is all, what the goals are that he shared with us and what everything is happening, it's fine. Like Huff has said, that is, and that can be
It's not up
considered
to
an
Huff.
evaluation.
It's up to us.
And we should agendaize this. We should postpone this and agendaize it so we can actually have a conversation in closed session.
Yes. Second.
All right.
You're seconding?
I'm seconding that.
That's not even a thing. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I, like Marilyn said earlier, I think we should agree to disagree on this because we have a contract that says may evaluate. I don't know about you guys, but I've been paying attention to what's going on. So
That's not what his
the
contract says.
says
Our board
may.
bylaw
contract says
says
shall. The
Sure,
contract does
so-
not say shall, it says
and-
may.
And our attorney says that the contract is what would be the binding thing. So I will go with counsel on this.
I'm not really. Yeah, I mean, we could do both. We could
We totally
have an
can.
evaluation and
And
come
it's
back in
on the
August
agenda
and
right
approve
now.
this for an extra year, and it wouldn't make any difference in
Sure.
timeline.
Sure. That, and if that's
Let's
how
do
you
that.
want to vote, that's totally fine. And we have the right to vote the way that we're going to vote. So,
All right, let's call for a vote. Calling for a vote. All those in favor?
aye.
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 No.
No.
Motion carries 3-2. I don't think we take the audience's votes into consideration. Consent calendar. Actions proposed for the consent.
Excuse me.
Can we have the guy in the hat escorted out, please? All right, moving along. The actions proposed for the consent calendar items are consistent with approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. The trustees receive board agenda backup information in advance of the scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote with knowledge on the block items. Is there any items that need to be pulled?
Yes.
All right, take it away.
20.1, 21.4, 21.5, 21.40, 21.41, 21.43, 21.44, and 22.22.
Okay, 21.44 and
2.22.
So it's safe to say that there's no Taco Tuesday in our future tonight.
Correct.
All right, Marilyn.
Okay, I'd like to pull 20.2, 21.12, 21.19, and I think Mrs. Buck got the rest.
21.19?
Yeah, 21.19.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the remaining
I'll make a
items on the
motion to
consent.
approve the consent calendar as amended.
I second.
I have a motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Mr. Youngblood. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 5-0, and we'll start with 20.1.
I'll make a motion for 20.1 to approve ratify purchase orders in the following amounts. Gosh, that's a long one to read. Okay, so here we go. 23-24 general fund 0101 $7,532,625.15. Can I just say it? Can I move for this entire section?
Yes.
And you're good with all of that? 20.1. I'll make a motion to
I'd
approve.
like it to be read, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so the one that I am pulling is the warrant listing 5/26/24 to 6/1/24. And it's for the full payment of the training lab for $1.228536 million on 5/30/24. In the contract that we agreed to in May, Article 2, 1B says consultant shall provide invoice costs for the services provided. All costs must be supported by an invoice receipt and acceptable documentation. Article 2, Section 2, consultant shall submit one invoice monthly to the district for fees incurred during the previous billing period and reimbursable expenses, if any. Invoices for fees paid must reflect hours worked, rate charged, services performed with attached receipts and proof of expenses. Invoices for reimbursements for reimbursable expenses incurred must clearly list items for which reimbursement is being requested and being accompanied by proper documentation, receipts, and invoices. I am incredibly concerned that we have paid the training lab in one lump sum and didn't follow any of these responsibilities through our contract that was signed less than a month ago. So I'll be voting no on this amount.
Clarify which warrant or which was it a PO or a warrant?
It was the warrant listing 5/26/24 to 6/1/24.
I think that's in the 20.2. Is it in the the top one?
It looks like it was duplicated in both.
Okay.
Did we pay them twice?
Thanks for that clarification. Okay, I will be voting no on this one as well because it's a lot of work to be done in 1 month, and I calculated it out to there's only like $2,900 left in their entire contract, and there's consulting was $80,000 and they should be billing us. I don't think they did $80,000 worth of consulting in a month, especially since we haven't even, according to Dr. Turnus, hired all of our personnel there. So I'll be voting no as well.
When does the equipment get delivered?
It's already coming in right now.
And we made the payment in full to get it here quickly so we could open in the fall. That's correct, right?
We could have put that in the consultant agreement.
Yes.
Thank you. And Gary, I think that you do a phenomenal job, and so I thank you very much for all of this. Let's move for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye.
No.
No.
Motion carries 3-2. I think, Mrs. Anderson, you have 20.2.
Correct. I'll make a motion to approve the warrant listing in the following amounts as seen in the agenda.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Anderson. I have a second by Mr. Youngblood.
Okay. I'm pulling the warrant listing from 5/26/24 to 6/1. Page 11, payment to the training lab. Same reasons as before. So I pulled it from this one, and Mrs. Buck pulled it from the previous one. So I don't think we have to have a lot of discussion. I think we already kind of know where we stand.
Okay, so we're ready for a vote? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye.
No.
Motion carries 3-2. 21.4.
I can do 21.4 and 21.5 together if that's acceptable.
Please.
Pull up the 21.4. Okay. So this is, the first one is to approve the independent contractor agreement between Strategic Kids LLC and Expanded Learning for programs and staffing during 24-25 school year. The second one is approve the independent contractor agreement with I'm sorry about the name, Cassirer? Sports and Expanded Learning for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck. I have a second by Mr. Youngblood.
I pulled these because these are typical contracts that we would have with agencies and organizations that come in and do work on site. They do training programs, they do workshops, and neither of these have licensing fees. And I appreciate that, and I will approve as a result.
So should we vote?
We can vote.
All right.
I was confused. I was waiting for something else. All
No,
right, all
just
those in
wanted to point it
favor?
out. Aye.
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 And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. 21.40.
Did you have one before
Oh, what about 2112?
2112.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement with Emerald Cove Outdoor Science Institute for students to attend overnight camps during the 2024-2025 year.
Second. Sorry, John.
Okay, I'm going to give that to Youngblood.
Okay.
Just because he's been really trying hard.
Okay, I pulled this just to bring again the attention to the outdoor science camps that we have budgeted $400,000 a year for our outdoor education programs for our kids, and as this has kind of been a highlight with Dr. Chernus, parents are still paying for camp, and we're only paying for certain kids to go to camp, which I totally agree with, and I am for it. But I think that we can do a better job subsidizing, as I've explained previous in this meeting, and so that's why I pulled it. And I don't have any problem with Emerald Cove. I just want to make sure that we're spending our money for our kids for this year's.
So vote?
I feel like we already talked about that. But, okay.
Ready to
All
vote.
right, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. I believe it's 21.40 now? 2119.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the use of EL Achieve, Inc., English Language Development Curriculum, and associated professional development for the Orange County School of Computer Science.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mrs. Anderson. I have a second by Mrs. Buck.
Okay, I pulled this because there's been a lot of talk about that I am against funding for the charter schools. And I'm not really against funding for the charter school. I've actually voted in favor of the charter schools. But what I have voted against is using funds that were directed for other programs to fund the charter school. That's where the difference. And this is a perfect example of that the money's coming out of instructional materials and paid out of site funds. This is how programs should be funded. We should not take funds to fund a program at the detriment of another program. And so that's why I pulled it, because this is how we should be spending our money. And this is a perfect example of that, and I just wanted to bring attention to that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. The next one will be, I think, 4D, right? Yeah, 21.40.
Okay, this one is for 21.4. Approve the agreement with Access Human Potential to provide mental performance training for students at Parkview Universal Sports Institute during the 24-25 school year.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, my concern is with this one is that we have a $20,000 name and training system addition on this total. The total contract amount is $51,000. So we're paying 40% of the total amount just to use the name Access Human Potential. I don't think we should be spending money on sponsorships or licensing fees. And this one is certainly way outrageous when you look at 40%. And then when you calculate up the number of hours that will be worked, there's 3 hours for a parent workshop, 5 hours for training, for staff training, 5,000 for individual coaching, but it doesn't really identify how many hours or number of students that will be coached. And then 20 hours total for the 8-week sessions. The total cost is $410 per student if you break it all down. It identifies no staff member, so assuming one staff member, that's $1,833 per hour that they'll be gaining from this. I'm really concerned about the licensing fee. The $20,000 for a $50,000 contract is exorbitant.
So I believe that's actually curriculum. It says that the training system, it's a curriculum part of that.
I'd like to see more on it because it says licensing, and
It
it's
says-
licensing
It says
and then
name and training system. It doesn't say licensing.
name and training system. The other two coming up will be licensing, so it's the same amount. So it seems the same to me. So I'd like clarification on that then, if it's going to be beyond just the licensing for $20,000. But I'm going to vote no. This is way too much, and just because we have the licensing fee in there at all negates it for me.
Yeah. Usually when we get contracts, if there is curriculum, then it's separate. It's listed as a separate item. And it's in the contract that this is how much curriculum costs. There's no separate, and I don't know when we got into the business of paying for someone's name to be at our schools. I'm against that, and we should take this back and renegotiate it because this is a little extreme.
If all it said was training system and it didn't say name, you'd be okay with it?
We shouldn't be paying licensing fees to use anybody's name.
It says name.
Right.
Doesn't.
And if it's curriculum like you suggest, then it should be listed in the agenda, like this is how much it is for the curriculum.
Part
It
of the-
shouldn't be separate. It shouldn't be lumped in with that. This is like a licensing fee. That's what I see it as.
The training lab licensing fee was $80,000, and that was 7% of what their total amount was. Still, I don't agree with the licensing fee. We shouldn't be paying that. But this is 40%.
So part of the reason that we are licensing and using the names of our partners is to make our program reputable. And we're partnering with companies like BC Adaptive Fitness, like Access Human Potential, like Recode Fitness, like Training Lab. So when we open USI, we're just not starting from scratch. We're actually partnering with people that are world class at what they do. So I think it's a great strategy, and it's going to make our brand that much stronger. And just like hopefully we'll partner with Special Olympics is our goal, is to partner with them as well. The more reputable companies in this space, the better for our program.
Will we be paying a licensing fee to Special Olympics? I don't know if they
I don't know how
necessarily
they
would charge
work.
a licensing fee.
I honestly don't know how they work. I would love for them to partner with us, however that works out. If and when, we'll discuss it.
I think that I love the partnership. I think that having somebody to talk about the mental fitness and strength training in that sense for our students is good. I'm against the licensing of the name.
Okay. The Access of Human, just so we know, they are very, very qualified, and they've been in a lot of high schools, and the feedback and the research of programs when they walk in and then also when they come out is just phenomenal. And so I will be voting yes on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
All right. Motion carries 3-2.
Okay, the 2141, Recode Fitness to provide strength and conditioning training for students at Parkview School Universal Sports Institute during the 24-25 school year.
I'll second it.
I pulled this one as well because we have a licensing fee here. The total amount is $283,000. The licensing fee here is $20,000, which is 7%. If you calculate, well, first of all, it doesn't ever give us a number of students served. So I'm not exactly sure how many that will be. Assuming 100 students, the cost is $2,830 a student. The calculated hours for a year is $80 an hour that we would be using, which is much more reasonable. Again, the licensing fee should be renegotiated and removed. So I'm voting no on that.
And this is bringing 7 additional coaches versus the 11 that we already have. Is that correct?
These are part-time. These are not necessarily, these are physical fitness trainers, yes.
Okay.
Not like basketball coach. These are trainers, and their hourly rates are in there. This strengthening and conditioning coach will develop individual programs for all the kids. So hopefully we get a couple hundred kids. It'll be a couple hundred. In addition, we believe that this position can help develop training programs for our comprehensive high school teams. So
Okay.
it's a great opportunity for us to partner with again a reputable company that does this for a living.
Okay, I'm really confused because I thought we paid $250,000 to the training lab to do individual. We bought the programming so that every kid could have an individual strength training, and then this is an additional.
You bought you're talking about the
Technology.
program we bought? That was
Technology.
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 This is actually people.
Okay, I'm going to be voting no on this because it's first the licensing fee. I'm not sure. This is bad business for a district to get involved in,
I
and it's a
disagree.
lot
I
of.
disagree.
And it's
Just stating that.
okay. Are you guys done disagreeing so I can finish my statement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. These 3 contracts that are coming up tonight come out to $500,000 for 100 kids. And that's a lot of money when our average ADA, by the time you remove the special education, the district fees, we only get about $10,000, and we still have to educate these kids. We're still responsible for getting them textbooks. We're still responsible for getting them a teacher. Even though they're homeschooled, there's still people over them, and there's still facilities that need to be maintained. So I will be voting no on this.
I love the outside the box thinking. I think this is a great program. I think the things that are going to be happening here, we're setting the tone for, I think, a lot of districts, specifically even Fullerton, that almost followed right behind us, doing it differently. But I think this is a big part of why it's going to be successful, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, Fullerton is charging $10,000 per students to participate in their program. And they're not paying the district, they're paying the actual company.
Would you rather it be that way?
Well,
Would you rather these kids pay?
And
Would
they're
you rather
they're charging
would you rather
kids
the
'cause
kids
they don't have
in
the
our
money
lower
to
income
put in the
areas, would
equipment
you rather
that we
they pay?
we do.
they're, I love how you guys twist.
No, that's not it. Because this
No,
is, it's
because
about
this
equity,
is-
correct? It's about equity.
We are not charging kids. That's a good thing.
Okay, can I finish my statement? Because you guys all three have interrupted me now. They charge the kids because $10,000 is pretty much their whole ADA that they have after they spend for their facilities, their special education, and that's why they can't do it. So by doing these programs and spending all this money, we're really taking away money from other children. I took this program and I divided it by the amount of students we have in our district, and it cost $25. I mean, not that it's a lot, but $25 per student in our district, total amount. And if you divide it up, I did a lot of reverse math because I keep waiting for a budget, but we don't get it. It costs, just this amount is about $3,400 per student at USI.
So I have
So,
go ahead.
did you do the same for BVVA?
Yes.
Did you do the same for engineering? Did you do the same for
I've asked
medical?
for the budget for BVA and I've asked to
No,
see that,
my
but I
point-
haven't seen it yet.
My point is, if you start looking at that, we have to be consistent, and you're doing it at every program, which means every program, based on your logic, is taking away from other students.
I
So
put
which
the
I
budget
keep-
up
Which I
for
keep saying
BBVA.
that
We're
we
losing
need
over
to-
$1 million a year on
Which I
And
keep
BBVA.
saying we need to look at.
And El Camino's losing over $2 million a year. So by
And El
keeping
Camino, we are mandated
Okay,
to
I'm
do it.
talking now. So if we have $3 million that we're losing, how much are we taking away from every student for keeping these programs open? And so are we looking at the Medical Services Academy? Are we losing money there? How about culinary? Like all of these things, do we start just looking? And then the media, absolutely. Do we start looking? Because I know that over at Esperanza, because my son was involved with it, that was an empty room. And so doing something similar, their media room, it was empty in like 2018. And they purchased a bunch of equipment for that, and now the room is full, and they're fully operating. But we
And it's
have to be
great.
able to, it's
it's great.
amazing. But we have to be able to spend some money to make these programs. Like we can't open a computer science school and say, oh, well, we don't want to do $1 million for the innovation lab, because why would anybody want to come if you're not offering anything different? We have to offer different things, just like in USI. We're offering all of these really, really cool things. And I just want to point out too, and I think this has slipped like a lot of people, like the credentials of our superintendent. He was LA County Board of Education. He was in charge of a $14 billion budget and 81 school districts. And so that is the biggest in the United States. And so I think sometimes when we're sitting here with Gary Stein, so we have a lot of good finance people, and we just keep questioning and questioning and questioning. And they're saying that this is going to work. And so anyways, it's going to work. It's a good idea. And then let's see, for the next board meeting, the August board meeting, let's see the amount of how much money we're losing in every program. Every single program, let's see what we're losing, every single academy, and then let's bring it all in and let's see like how much is taking away from every student. Like, do we really want to start going there, or do we want to just start saying this is going to be what's good for kids?
And again, the USI budget, which we will bring, the operating costs, we're talking about maybe 0.3% of our overall operating budget. And it's taking up 99% of the attention because of, I don't know, political reasons.
No, it's
And
because that's what we're voting on
and
right
it's
now.
really
Because evaluating
unfortunate.
and
Just right now.
Yeah,
It's really
right now.
unfortunate. And the misinformation out there about USI, intentionally being put out on social media, is it's troubling. And there's so much misinformation out there. And people put it out, and most people don't have time to fact check, so they believe it. And so it's really unfortunate that a district where we're actually increasing enrollment, we never hear that from the same people that don't want USI, they don't want our charter schools. Well, what do you want? We want more kids to come here. We want a healthy district where we can offer a lot of programs. This is one of them. The cost is minimal compared to the operations of our district. And it actually may be helping because our enrollment's going up.
I think what's disappointing is that we're not listening to the community. I can't tell you how many
I'm
of my
listening.
neighbors have come.
I
and
am
talked
listening to the
me.
community
She
as
did
well.
not interrupt. Just
And
listen.
I'm listening.
I
think
can't tell
that's
you
an
how many
ambiguous
neighbors-
statement that is not true. Because I get community members
Okay,
all the time
excuse
saying
me,
USI is a great idea.
I was talking,
So
and
I
let me
just,
finish my statement.
It's just not true.
I've had neighbors come to me because they've heard about this USI. They've come to the board meetings and they listen and they're like, Marilyn, why are you against it? And then they've come to the meetings and then they've come back to me and said, Marilyn, tell those people I want you to vote no. And that's what my constituents are saying, and that's what they're doing. And so I am listening to my constituents. And we have had people come at this board meeting, many people bringing up the same questions. And we still don't have a budget. We still don't know how much it's going to cost to maintain this. We still don't have a total amount of the build. It's all very hearsay, and we're all trying to put it together because we can't get it together. So
I think we have it together.
I will be voting no.
Okay.
We can use anecdotes all we want. I mean, that's really what we're talking about, because I've heard things from several people that are very excited about this, and they can't believe that we're doing something so great. So we're hearing things that we could all use anecdotes, but realistically, at the end of the day, depending on how we vote and at the results of what we get from what we've been doing, we will know exactly how we did, but we don't have a crystal ball right now. Based on everything that we've seen, the financial minds that we have involved in this is the plan that seems to make the most logical sense to move forward to make our district continue to thrive in a world where districts are dying. So I'm going to vote yes.
And I think too, we need to stop with just the only 100 students, or because we're actually like at 110. But however, there's going to be the after school program. You know, you can have your high school athletes come in and you can train after school. We've been saying that. So that opens it up to a ton more students.
And we're talking about 110 applicants. We hope to have 200 by the time the year starts. But again, even if we open a school with 200 kids, even if it serves thousands of kids after school, even if it's profitable.
It's not the point. It's about opportunity for our students.
Yeah.
I mean, you have somebody like Sterling Jones who
I agree.
You have somebody like Sterling Jones who
But not
is
at the
going
expense
to
of the rest.
And it's not at the expense of
So
the
So
rest.
then
But
is
you
the
have to
medical
use-
services program at the
I
expense
don't
of
know
the
that
rest?
because I have not seen a dollar amount going into all of this.
But is the
It's just
medical
this- we
services
just keep
program
doing it.
Is
Just
the
like-
medical services program at the expense of the rest? Is El Camino at the expense of the rest? Is BBVA at the expense of the rest? Is culinary at the
BVVA
expense
is
of the
losing
rest?
over $1 million a year. I put
So-
that on the screen. You saw that budget. Do you support that program?
Yes.
Okay.
Even
I'm
though
not
it
saying
loses
that I would
money?
not support this program. I want more information that I'm not getting.
Okay.
For example, any of the budgets here, and we don't pay licensing fees anywhere else. I do not agree with licensing fees. Even if this was the greatest thing ever, I still would disagree with it because we should not be paying licensing fees.
Even
to
if it
companies.
draws in students and
Even
makes
if
the
it draws
program
in
better.
students, we don't do that. We shouldn't do it. It's public money.
It's public money that we're using
don't pay-
to serve kids. And if it serves kids better because we have these partnerships,
That
then
money
why
is not
wouldn't we
serving the
want to?
kids. It's paying them for their name.
We pay licensing fees when we order books.
So we've been paying licensing fees the whole time.
Forever. Every curriculum you buy, you pay a licensing fee.
Well, that's a license. It's different than
No,
the
it's not.
licensing fee
That's
to
not.
lease their name.
That is not. It's not
No,
different.
you're getting
It's
you're
not
getting
different.
a textbook. Yes, it is. It's different.
We're getting all kinds of stuff. Like this is a little bit of semantics that's just pointless.
There's licensing fees in so many, hundreds and
I
hundreds
spoke
of
to
contracts.
other board members and other superintendents and other districts around, and they would not agree to this. They agreed with me that we shouldn't be doing this. So
They're probably upset.
we'll just agree to
that
disagree.
we thought of it first.
Yeah, I don't
We'll
think so.
agree to disagree, Carrie. Perfect.
All right, let's go for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No.
No.
3-2. Next one, please. I believe so.
21.43, approve the independent contractor agreement with BC Adaptive Fitness to provide functional training for students with disabilities at Parkview Schools Universal Sports Institute during the 24-25 school year.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck, and I have a second by Mr. Youngblood.
Again, this is a $20,000 licensing fee. At this total amount of $136,000, this one accounts to 15% of the total amount. 84 students will be served with this at a cost of $1,619 per student, 2,400 hours a year, according to their contract, which is a reasonable $57 an hour. Minus the licensing fee, I would accept this. I think it needs to be renegotiated without the licensing fee. I'll vote no if that's still in.
Yeah, I think we should go back and renegotiate and pull the licensing fee.
And I think this would be great for students.
I think this is a great program. Are we ready to vote?
Yep.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
All right, motion carries 3-2. 21.44.
I'll make a motion, we accept gifts as listed, such action being in compliance with Ed Code Section 401032, and direct the superintendent to send letters of appreciation.
I'll second.
I brought this because I wanted to thank the Yorba Linda Sunrise Rotary for the 80 rubber balls and 60 jump ropes that they provided to Melrose Elementary School to have for recess. It's a great school in one of our low-income communities. The fact that Yorba Linda Rotary is going from Yorba Linda over to Placentia to do that, I just wanted to say thank you so much and very much appreciated.
And I would like to thank Dr. Chernus and his staff for going to the Rotaries so they're aware of what our needs are and can facilitate this. And I do think too, and let's take the vote first. All those in favor? Oh, do you want to talk?
You have to talk about it before you take the vote. If you're going to still talk about this, you have to wait. Talk about it before the vote.
The Rotary? No, I was just saying thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Rotary.
Thank you, Rotary.
Thank you.
All right, can we take the vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
22.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We got to make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the contract with the Anaheim PD.
Second.
SRO.
Oh, sorry. That was too soon.
I'm still flipping pages. Yes. Make a motion to approve the MOU with the City of Anaheim for the provision of one school resource officer effective July 1st, 2024 through 2020 to June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Okay. I pulled this because the contract here was actually signed September 12th of this year, and I wanted to bring attention that Anaheim PD was not able to provide us an SRO specific for Esperanza High School, and I wanted to bring it to attention. I checked, and no invoices were paid. Sent. Anaheim did not pay anything. So this is just hoping that next year Esperanza and Anaheim PD will be able to have another officer to do the SRO program. The Anaheim Police Department provided Esperanza with 2 phone numbers for SROs assigned to other schools, that if there was a need that they could come. But there was nobody assigned specifically to Esperanza High School. So as you guys know, I have a relationship with Anaheim PD. I know Sergeant Conklin personally, and this...
Did he used to work at Downey PD?
That I don't know.
I think he did. But
There's a lot of Conklins.
There are a lot of Conklins in law enforcement.
Yes. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention and to be clear about it. So
So I think too, when we were talking about this, because it was in the middle of the year in the negotiation for the SRO, we didn't start at the beginning of the year and get this contract. So it sounds like the contract is going, but I really did appreciate from Anaheim PD that they did give us 2 part-time ones, and they did actually have a presence on campus, because I was asking about it once we were told, hey, Anaheim's going to take, a couple of the officers and have them go by. And so having a student at Esperanza, it was nice that there was an officer on campus. They would walk the campuses, they would park there for a while. I did drive by a few times and I saw them taking reports in the parking lot. And so they did provide a presence, and then they didn't charge us anything for it. So I think that was really great initiative on Anaheim PD's part, because it showed okay, we've heard you, we care, we're coming with our full-time people, but we have heard your concern and we're listening. And so I am very appreciative of Anaheim PD for going out of their way to
Yeah,
do
they've
that.
been amazing, and they've been trying as hard as they can to get somebody full-time on board. And I believe, Renee, you want to fill us in on that?
Yeah, so in talking with Sergeant Conklin, he said his desire is for sure to get a full-time SRO for next year. And knowing that they didn't have the 2 that they thought they would, because what had happened was that they thought that they would, there were 2 patrol officers, because they don't want to put newly graduated officers from the academy, and he said that we deserved ones that were more experienced. So as a result of that, he's already identified 2 potential. And as soon as they finish the academy, I think it's mid-June, then probably any time now, they'll identify who will start for next year. So he apologized. This was a situation that was difficult, but they did provide presence as much as they could. They were there every time we called them. They've been very, very supportive. They've been coming to me to talk about how we can collaborate and partner once we get the SRO. It's been a very positive relationship.
If I could just recap, you said that in June they'll have 2 that will be coming out of their training.
They've identified 2 patrolmen because they want experienced.
Okay,
folks
so the
for
2
us.
patrol will then go to
One of them,
SRO training.
yeah.
Once they get
Okay.
people out of the academy,
They'll
then
backfill the patrolmen,
Then they'll-
and the more experienced will.
Okay,
one of-
just
one
wanted
of
to
them.
confirm that.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that. That's a good question, because it did sound like out of the academy, and then we just said we don't want that.
I
No,
figured
sorry,
it could not
back
be
to-
happening out of the academy. That
Yeah.
would, and the hours too, that is way too good for a rookie to be able to jump in on a school just daytime, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
So
Look at it. Yeah. He knows.
all right. So we're ready to vote? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0, and I think that's the end of it. So one thought that was had is it is 9:30, and so if we want to skip our communication board report for tonight and move to adjournment.
If we do that, we won't be reporting back till August. So I say we go through it because we've had quite a busy month.
I agree.
As long as it's down to 3 minutes.
Yeah, are we gonna?
I'll read fast.
Let's give ourselves. Let's go fast.
Okay. I'll just
'Cause we all
give
did a lot of the
highlights
same
of what we're
things.
doing.
Yeah, we were all kind of there together.
All the graduations.
Well, going back to May, since that was the last time we had a meeting, just a few highlights. Attended the middle school track meet, which was the same night as the ROP board meeting, followed by the Avid Scholar Award. So that was quite a busy hopping around night, but fun to do all that. Mentioned the LCAP, thank you for the extra time, and Mr. Stein, thank you for the extra time with the budget as well, that we spent going over a little bit. Congratulations again to the community honorees, which we all saw in May but didn't get to say thank you here. Attended a few awards nights, fiscal seminar with OCSBA, and the Rose Drive graduates coming back. The seniors coming back was awesome. We had the biggest class that had come back, so that was fun. Attended 3 different promotions, 5 different graduations, and the highlight for sure was being able to give my daughter her diploma, my youngest daughter her diploma for graduating from high school this year. So that was very awesome. And then just one last note, just wanted to clarify, Marilyn had been accused of contacting the DSA regarding the USI project at our on email and sent out to lots of people and then on social media. That wasn't correct. I was actually the one that called the DSA and asked them about what was happening. I was getting conflicting reports from staff and from the community about what was real and what wasn't. When I called, the person told me that with a simple 700 form and $400, they could sign off on that project, but that had not been requested. So it wasn't Maryland. I contacted them to confirm, and it's within my right to do that. Projects with DSA and those type of things, board members can be held personally liable for any of that stuff. So it was important for me to call and find out where we were on it. I don't know where we are on it. He told me that the only way that I would know that we were signed off was that 700 form. So if we have that, great. And if they've signed off on our project, wonderful. I'd like to see that. If we're still in process, I'd like to see that too. That's it for me.
Okay. First, I'd like to address the accusations made against me. There was actually 3. One, Mrs. Buck just clarified that I did not call DSA. And another one, I contact AQMD. I never contacted AQMD. I didn't know about a cement planter being removed because I've never been able to tour USI to know what's been happening, and I'm hoping someday I get to. Also, I was accused of calling a bird conservatory about aviary habitat. That is just hilarious. Thank you, Mrs. Blades, for that. Because
I didn't start these rumors.
No,
I'm just laughing because of the bird conservatory.
These are things that Dr. Turnus accused me of, and then sent the email out to 20 community members.
I never accused you of that.
There's a great letter of that.
Yeah, it doesn't accuse you of that.
So, to be very clear, I did contact David Huff because I was seeking advice on how to proceed to gain insight on the DSA approval, and how this exception process works. As you guys are aware, which Mrs. Blades has demonstrated when we hired this company, OAHH allows board members to call and seek for free counsel. So I did that, and my call didn't cost the district a dime. But I did learn 2 things. One, there is something called the DSA publication RA22, construction projects and items exempt from DSA review. And according to Mr. Huff, our project does need DSA. And if anyone would like to see that, I have it saved on my desktop, and you send me an email, I'm happy to put it on there and send it, and you can look for yourself. Also, it's been repeatedly represented to me and to the community that there's a letter from DSA exempting us from this, and I have not received it. I've requested this letter twice, and I didn't get it. Then I did a public records request on May 17th, and because didn't get my answers, and I'm still waiting for a response. I've gotten 2 emails from Mrs. Gray saying that it's in process. So she's keeping me updated. But I think the most disturbing thing I learned was from Mr. Huff is that without DSA approval, each one of us are personally liable. This is the one thing that people can sue us personally for. And so I really think we need to make sure that we are following the rules and doing things in order, because my husband's entering retirement, and I want my finances to be secure. So here's some events that I attended. I attended 8th grade AVID standout at Angel Stadium, Yorba Linda Prayer Breakfast, Community Honorees, induction ceremony, Valencia High School Memorial Day celebration. I attended a Rotary meeting, and I was there for Love Placentia, but it was a bonus because there was 2 Valencia students that shared their experiences that Rotary sponsored them to go to a leadership conference. I attended the Valdez end of the year band and orchestra concert, the Ruby Drive Color Run. I attended the Lot 318 Good Life celebration, and I just wanted to bring note to one of the students there. Had collected shoes and sporting equipment, and she had cleaned it all and made it wonderful, and she was giving it out free to the community there. And so I love seeing our students in action. I attended Valencia and Esperanza High School Senior Awards Nights. Our kids are outstanding. I went to the Tuffrey Middle School outside band concert and In and Out fundraiser, and it was such a lovely evening. I'm ready for concerts in the park. I went to the George Key Garden dedication, Valencia High School and Kramer Middle School vocal spring choir concerts, and I'm always so impressed. And I also just yesterday attended the end of the year administrative luncheon. School visits, I went to Valencia High School, El Dorado High School, Esperanza High School, Yorba Linda High School, and it was so fun to see our kids in action and our teachers. And I learned a little bit about lots of things that I'm definitely not ready to go to Spanish for, and about our trade deficit. And sat in an economics class about gross domestic product and how it's calculated, and I took pictures because I'll never remember. I went to Kramer Middle School promotion, and then graduations Venture, El Camino, George Key, and Valencia High School. And congratulations to all of our graduates. You guys are amazing, and I wish you all the best, and I wish all of our staff that have the summer off a chance to relax and work on your tans and decompress. And happy summer, everybody.
Wow. Okay, that is a lot. I too have been slightly busy, not necessarily like Miss Anderson. However, I did get to attend a couple of the high school honorees, senior honors awards. So I got to see scholarship awards as well as high school honor awards for that particular school, one for Esperanza, and then I got to go do the graduation for Buena Vista Virtual Academy. It never ceases to amaze me. Kids who are driven on their own to graduate high school early. They had about 12 or 14 kids that were juniors that were already graduating, and it was truly amazing to me. Then I also got to go to the Valencia High School, and that was an incredible event. Amazing, just amazing performance with the setup, the grounds people, just being able to put on such a large graduation like that took a lot of networking. Principal Hertzfeld was awesome, and to see him kind of go through that again, I think what was it? How many times was that for him? Like his fourth time, right? He does it like a pro. So I really appreciated him being there helping coordinate that as well. But as far as summer things, I'm looking forward to. Hopefully the summer will be a little more mellow. Otherwise, it keeps me pretty busy on my side job. So hopefully that will be mellow. But the way it's been looking, it's getting pretty crazy out there. So if I were to use the words of Smokey the Bear, only you can prevent forest fires. So please take heed of that if you're out there camping and so forth for the summer. But otherwise, enjoy your summer. I'll see you in August.
All right. Well, as we've all said, we've been to a lot of the same things. A lot of the end of year parties and the awards nights, and obviously the graduations. It's just such an awesome thing to get to watch these kids that have been here working hard, staying up late, studying on weekends, working on their sports, get to the end and shake their hand and get to say congratulations. I got to shake Emily's hand as she went across the stage at graduation. I also got to shake my daughter's hand, which that was the crowning achievement for me this last this year. My wife's like my best achievement, but but it was amazing to be able to be there, stand, celebrate all these kids, celebrate my daughter, and see what they're doing, and just the possibilities of these kids that are coming out of this district. I mean, we've got some amazing kids that are going to do some absolutely fantastic things. And I'm just so glad, regardless of whether we all agree on one thing or another, you can't deny that we all want the best for the kids. I think we have different views on how that gets done, but based on the things that we've done over the past year, the things that are about ready to kick off, the things that we're excited to start and to pioneer at this district, I just think it's a great time to be at PYUSD. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of this, and I'm excited for summer.
So there's 3 of us that had kids graduate, and so it was amazing to give, my middle son his diploma, and all of the friends and the football players and the wrestlers and, baseball, anything that they've been playing. But not only that too, you find people coming across that, you coach Little League, when they were in 1st, 2nd grade, you can't, and one was so tall, I didn't even reckon, just from freshman year till senior year, I hadn't really seen him. He just shot up. And so it's super exciting, for all of them. And they're so happy and they're so excited when they're up there. And so that's really, that it's such a cool thing. And so we were at Esperanza and then Yorba Linda, and then all 3 of my kids went through Bernardo, so that's kind of like their alma mater. So I went over there. And the only thing I would ask is that for us to be able to attend more, we can't keep putting all the middle schools at 9:30 in the morning. We got to space it out a little bit so you can, yeah. So that would be my only thought on that. The George Key Garden ceremony, it was amazing. They sang the song again that they sing up here, and they keep just getting better and better every single time. And then so one thing I was going to hit on that has been brought up, this whole thing, the whole rumors and stuff. I was kind of confused at the last board meeting or the 4th, I think it was, when we had people coming up and they were complaining that we had too much money in our reserves and we weren't spending enough. And so I'm just kind of confused as to what this message is. But if that's the case, then we have too much money in our reserves, then thank you, Gary. Also too, people continue to come up here and say, they come up and they keep saying people are leaving. And one thing that I would say is that we've been aware of some of the people who did leave and they left for promotions, and they've been telling us for the last year or 2 that they are looking. And so a lot of these aren't surprises to us because we just know what personal circumstances are. But I also would say too, somebody mentioned Shelley Spessard. I'm friends with her and we talk to each other. And so I know that she would probably be disappointed if people were coming up here saying that there was a nefarious reason when we know what she's actually doing right now. And she is having an amazing time. Richard Den took a promotion in Garden Grove. Obviously he went to school in Garden Grove. He started his career in Garden Grove. His family's in Garden Grove. For his personal reasons, as he shared with all of us, he has a 2nd kid on the way, and it's just easier for babysitting. So we have a lot of those things, and I think we have a lot of life that happens, and so I'm not quite understanding why, in other job opportunities, sometimes you take a higher pay somewhere, or they have better benefits, or you're closer to home, or you can get a different position that's not going to be opening up here. And I don't know why we are demonizing that or saying, oh, well, it's just a board or superintendent, or it's this place, or it's this, it's political, or it's this, because I really feel we haven't been we're just trying to do what's best for kids. It's not political. Yes, everybody knows what my political party is, but do I bring that in here? No, I just try to do what's best for kids. And so that's kind of one of the things that, that is a little bit bothersome when somebody comes out, you're just playing politics. Well, no, we're not just playing politics. We're just trying to do what's best for kids. We're just trying to keep the curriculum strong, keep them in good sports, have all these opportunities. And so I don't think USI is political. I don't think a charter school, a district charter school using our staff and our students and all of our faculty is political. It's just opportunity. It's just seeing what the future is holding for these kids. And so if that's political, and then fine, it's political to give opportunities to kids. I wanted to point out that in Long Beach Unified, just principals alone, there were 13 principals who left or were moved or did whatever. And so we're not talking about Long Beach Unified being on fire. And this was just principals alone. This wasn't even all of their administrators, just principals, 13 of them. And so yet we're not hearing any complaints. We're not hearing, Long Beach is this and Long Beach is that. And then I also say too, like there's 6, like Claremont is a very small school district. And you had 6 administrators, leaving as well or openings for them. But nobody's saying anything about that. But suddenly here, when we have people leaving, I mean, we had a list go out the other day and they were, oh my gosh, people are leaving. There's people actually like on this list that were taking promotions to our district office. And so like, I think we just need to be real about things and real about life, because I know too for a fact, like I took a position, I started off somewhere and I thought I'd be there forever. And then I went to a different department only because the pay was better. It was closer to home. I just had my first son. And so it was better for me. So people make a lot of choices, and to think that people like the principals that came up here that were promoted tonight, how many places did they say that they had worked? And so maybe moving around, maybe asking somebody to spend 40 years of their career in one place, is that a feasible thing? And so I also too, there was, I got a question too, because I guess PYL Buzz went on Twitter or X now, and they said that, if you want to be endorsed by the Orange County Board of Education, just open charter schools. And they said that we've had 0, 23, 24, and then 24, 25, that there's 2. And just so that's misinformation again, because there is just one. USI is not a charter school, and it is just the Orange County School of Computer Science, and it is a district charter. And so it is our own people, our own staff, and whatever. And so I think we should just start thinking of things like this. And so we could talk about politics, like we're just trying to do what's best for students and putting students first, and we're super excited about what the future holds. But I think when we start to talk about when we are held to a different standard about what our employees are doing, and we're not holding other districts to the same standard or making the same accusations, when you have 13 principals in Long Beach all leaving and then they have to hire 13 more, why are we not saying that their district's on fire? Like I asked that question to somebody because they were asking me that. They said, well, I don't, I'm sure everything is okay there, but here is this. So I just think we need to put some of these things in perspectives, that we work long careers. Law enforcement, firefighter, you spend 30 something years, 40 years in a career, and to stay in one spot when there's other opportunities available, pay raises, and just things happen. I just think I just think we need to look at it from that aspect. Why are we holding the world of teaching to this type of, how many places have you been, Dr. Gates? You've been many places to take promotions, and so, it's just kind of how it is. So anyways, I hope everybody has a good summer. I hope everybody stays safe. And then I also did want to point out, I had to text Annette a minute ago, because it said on our next board meeting that it's August 8th. And so I did not want to spend 2 birthdays on a board meeting. And I knew my birthday was not on Tuesday again. So it is actually August 13th is our next board meeting. And so everybody have a safe and happy July, and we'll see you back on August 13th. And I'd like a motion for adjournment.
I motion for an adjournment.
Yeah, can somebody second it, please? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a great summer.